American basswood.
Hello
Bastard.
and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday, the 24th of January, 2016. I'm your host, Dan Train. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess.
Whoop.
And Robert Kemp.
Poo. More like poo.
Poo. What is the inverse sound of the woo? You can't add an inverse woo. I don't think you can make that sound. Can you?
An inverse is an
Woo?
woo. Ooh.
Yeah.
Woo. Ooh. Ooh. It's ooh. Ooh.
You think?
Oh.
They're not quite like
Oh. Oh.
So is it basswood or basswood?
I don't know. It doesn't say. It's felt like, double bass.
Well, yes, but it's always felt like that. All those words that are exactly the same mean completely different things all the time.
Sea basswood.
It's clearly made of fish.
Yeah.
Sega basswood fishing.
Sega basswood fishing. Yeah, it's like it's the logger's dream. Like,
yeah. What if you had a bass fishing rod that was made of basswood? Make it hard.
Super effective.
Yeah, but the fish probably wouldn't fight back if they were made of basswood, right? They'd just be.
Why are the fish made of wood now?
It's because it's basswood. You're fishing for basswood, not bass.
No, you're fishing with basswood for bass fish.
Like you're just trying to hit fish over the head with a log.
No,
it's a fishing rod.
It's a fishing rod made of wood.
Do you think that's probably
very effective for fishing rods?
Probably not a good word for.
No, it's probably really bad.
rods.
It probably doesn't bend as much as a proper rod, right?
You don't know shit about this tree. It could be exactly like a willow tree, and it could be perfectly fine.
Is that what?
It's still probably not good as a composite rod.
Is that what they usually use for rods that aren't
I imagine any
wood?
bendy type of tree could have been used in the old days to make fishing rods, because it's not like fishing rods actually really have that much reliance on the rod part of the fishing rods.
No, it's more the line.
In old school fishing, anyway.
Yeah.
What did they make the line of before they had like nylon and shit?
Probably fucking
Cat
sheep guts.
Yeah, probably. Man, that must be annoying if you have to tie it all up and stuff and then it breaks. Bloody hell, how did people manage to fish anything? Like,
how did civilization work in the old days?
Exactly. How did it bloody work? How did Link manage to catch that? The Hylian Loach with his sinking lure and all of that.
What he did is he lullabied it towards him with the ocarina, and then just sort of stabbed it and stuff.
Sort of stabbed it and stuff. That's your fishing method.
Yeah, absolutely. That guy I mentioned was in that fishing trailer at the Game of the Year Awards. Like, that guy would know how to stab a fish and stuff, I'm sure. Dean Macy, that's his name.
What? And what did he do?
I like how you started that sort of anecdote by saying that guy I mentioned, which you hadn't.
I'm sure I did. Like, when we were doing best trailer. We were doing best trailer at the Game of the Year.
Okay, so like several episodes ago.
Yeah, I mentioned 4 weeks ago, yeah. Yeah, Dean Macy. He'd know a thing or two about
stabbing fish. What makes you say that? I'm confused.
But because, as I said before, weirdly, former decathlete Dean Macy seems to be the frontman for advertising a fishing game, on Steam. Like, it was just like, "Hi, I'm Dean Macy. You better check out Eurofishing," or whatever it's called.
Eurofish Simulator.
You're a fish.
You're a fish simulator.
But the question is, what is a fish anyway? I think.
Yep, exactly.
I wish I knew. Yep.
Let's just kill that in-joke off with silence, and then move on.
What was that? That's the Chase HQ music that was based on, right?
Yeah, indeed was.
Yeah.
That still comes to me. That
I still think, whenever I think of the word cosmos, I still think of the Game Gear version of Columns.
Yep, exactly.
And going, oh, cosmos.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh, cosmos.
How did you forget that one?
Oh, cosmos.
Brilliant rhyming powers of our 8-year-old selves. And what were we then? Probably about that. Oh, God.
Yeah, it must have been. Everybody knows the moon is made of cheesy. Because we couldn't fit just cheese in there. We didn't pick the cheese. No, you just said cheesy.
Anyway.
Everyone knows the Earth is made of lager.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh dear.
Yep, Dave's just looking at us incredibly confused. This is stuff that only we will understand.
Only we get it. Well, yeah, it's just everyone does that. Makes up stupid lyrics to like instrumental video game music.
Oh yeah,
when they're kids.
Well, one of my favourite ones is there was a sort of, I don't know, run of the mill drum and bass song that was on Radio 1 at one point, and it like one of its key lyrics was like a sort of cut up bit of vocal of like where a woman was singing "I feel about ya," like. But it said that in typical like pop style. They looped that sample over and over again. It's like feel about you. Except then everyone, of course, like it was ruined when the Radio 1 DJs realised it sounds a lot like Feel a Badger. Feel a Badger.
God. It's just a natural human instinct to put stupid words in.
Oh yeah. Hear words we don't know. Like. Was it the other thing that was talking
that has
about?
A special name,
again.
Isn't it? Sorry, I can't remember.
Does it? Like,
Mondegreen or something. I'll see if I can Google it.
There's been a couple of things. Like there was that Mariah Carey thing, where it's like where someone took the, all the warbling that Mariah Carey does at the start of All I Want for Christmas, and turned that into a piano MIDI track. So if you can imagine, like every warble is just being played by a different, like badly, like it's like listening to a bad auto tune, right? Except every note has been played by a piano. And it's like, apparently, like, if you listen to that, it's like after a while, your brain starts going, oh, yeah, the words are there. And it's like, no, they're not there.
They're not there. Yeah. Yep, I was somehow correct. I somehow remembered that it's called a mondegreen. Yeah, when you misheard lyric, it's called a mondegreen.
All of the green.
I'm not exactly sure why.
Mondegreen. He's the guy that came up with it, right?
I think it's from
he's the nutball that could hear voices wherever he went.
It must be him, Mr. Mondegreen.
Mr. Mondegreen. The music voice.
Something reminded me of that stupid Natasha Bedingfield alternate lyrics that I came up with like 15 years ago.
Oh, well, these biscuits are stale.
Get some new ones.
Get some new ones.
I hate you. Oh dear. Rubbish.
I thought I came up with that, but
no, that was me.
Probably a joint effort.
It might have been a joint effort. I think the hate you part was pretty obvious after that part. Yeah, that was good. Also, not made up lyrics, but pretty much every time, like literally yesterday, day before, I had to walk from Liverpool Street UBS back to my office in Farringdon. Just walk through the city, and every time. It's in the city.
Oh, God. Man.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I still think, in the city. Yes, this is one of Rob's compositions that me and Zach from when he was about 11 or something.
God, it must have been like, a little bit later than that, maybe. But,
when that me and Zach still love and Rob can't stand for some reason.
I've never stood it.
He tried to remix it and slightly improve it because
it's definitely worse. It's definitely worse.
It's not any better. I just like that bit crushed moment where it plays that sample.
Yeah, that's the but like so badly distorted that it just goes.
No, but there's an end of line where everything cuts out and it plays the line, but it plays it bit crushed or whatever. What the heck is going on in the city? It plays it all distorted. That's cool. It's cool, man.
That the function that made that sample right is really weird. Like, because it's not a proper distortion. It's not a proper thing. Like Fast Tracker back in the day used to have a function that would sort of like, if you imagine a sound wave, it would sort of like just push it upwards by like half a screen. But the problem with that is that then when it transitioned from the top to the bottom, it had to create a vertical line in the wave. Right. So what you would end up with is this weird distortion effect that I actually don't know how you recreate now. I don't have a tool that can do that.
It's a shame because it sounds super cool.
Yeah, it was a neat effect. I made a lot of the sort of like crushy, beepy noises that I used to use back then were made using this thing.
Yeah.
Using that effect, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't quite know if there's anything out there that can do it. Maybe I need to experiment with SynthMaker and just write a formula that does it. I don't know.
Yeah, then you could make it your signature or whatever.
I mean, yeah, it's a bit rough in the sense that it's an all or nothing kind of
totally
thing. It's going to be super crunchy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, unless you make the transposition like a variable, I guess, so you push it like a quarter up and it only crunches that quarter. But I don't know.
Yeah, that could work. Interesting.
Who knows? It was a weird ass thing. But Can't do it at the moment. So there.
In the city.
Music. Yeah.
Oh, and this is a terrible one, but there's people keep. There's this guy at work called. He's sort of coming into his own. He's a bit quiet, but this Indian QA guy called Vamshi. And people keep saying Vamshi like this, and for some reason now I've got the bungee thing. So I keep to me I'm going Vamshi.
Yeah, another one of our songs back in the day. I gotta admit, I'm quite pleased that when you said Vamshi, and it's that's exactly where my mind went for some reason.
Straight to bungee. Yeah. Exactly.
No, not to bungee. No, to your first one. To just saying Vamshi. Why.
That's not me. That's Kamel. His boss is doing that. So it went from that from me to the bungee thing, but with Vamshi for some reason.
It's like there's a Bose advert on TV at the moment for Bose headphones or something, and this guy is walking around the town, and as he's walking around, it seems like his exes,
random women,
random women just sort of fade in and out next to him, and I'm like. A bit of me is saying, this is not a good ad for the headphones. I'm not sure I really want to be walking around town wearing headphones, being reminded of all the fights I had with my exes, only to then walk up and be all like, oh, hey, current girlfriend.
Well, that's like that guy's fault for apparently listening to a soundtrack that he played during all his failed relationships.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's not setting a good precedent for his current girlfriend when he arrives.
Music brings back repressed memories. Bose, don't listen to music. Noise cancel everything.
Yes. Don't listen to fuck all. Just silence.
Yeah, don't be that man. It's not good for you.
Top
tips.
I saw a random advert on YouTube, which was one of the classic. They don't turn up very often for obvious reasons, because there's normally on YouTube you get just the same fucking advert over and over because it's whatever company has paid for that space for the fucking month or whatever they do.
Yeah.
But occasionally you'll get the mystery YouTube adverts where it's how did these people even afford to advertise on YouTube? There was this really terrible one for, I don't even remember what it was for, some kind of fantasy football league or some shit. But it's just
it wasn't DraftKings, was it?
No, it wasn't DraftKings. It was much worse than DraftKings. But it had all the classic some if one slightly confident person looked at this, they would have been like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Because it was terrible green screen, and then they were recording with a mic on the green screen that was encrypted that had a high pitched whine on it because they were recording into an open room or some shit.
Weird.
And then the studio audio when it wasn't on the green screen was only coming out of the left speaker. And the sound mix on the sound effects was way too loud. It's just how does this even happen? How can you afford to put this advert onto YouTube but not have one single person who looks at it and says, this is really shit?
I've never come across that. I've never come across an advert that hasn't been either just a very professional trailer or Nike or something, or
it's a TV advert that's been converted.
That kind of grade of ad.
But yeah,
Nissan, lots of Nissan ads.
That was it only turned up once in all these videos I was watching. It's that was all they paid for. It's just 1/100th of the ad content on YouTube. It's this terrible advert.
Weird.
I don't watch all these adverts that much because the ad blocker seems to work quite well on YouTube. But I have noticed that it seems to be a thing that it's affecting TV adverts, because TV advert is 30 seconds or something. How long? I guess it varies. But now, in order to use, if you want to reuse that and use it on the internet, it has to get across most of the advert within about 5 seconds. So, the adverts are now oh god, here's the thing.
And
then they do something dumb for the remaining 25 seconds.
Exactly, yeah.
And then, of course, you get the adverts which are specifically made for YouTube, the fucking whatever that betting website is with what's his face?
With Ray Winston?
Yeah.
How about punt on that?
They have their specific YouTube adverts, which basically all start with, "Oi, don't touch that skip button." And it's skip. Skip. You get to say that within the 5 seconds that it takes for me to be able to hit that skip button.
I suppose, like, some ads, I suppose, are designed for both, conveniently designed for both YouTube and TV by nature of, like, they've probably got a sponsorship deal, right? So they have to make, like, these little 5-second snippets to bookend breaks for shows.
Right.
And it's like, then there you go, you've got that perfect 5-second YouTube ad, like that wouldn't be marked as skippable, but is short enough not to piss everyone off. Unless you see it, like, 50 times. So you remember that bloody split acting ad that was on every? It seemed to be on.
And that was like a 5-minute advert or something.
Who is going to watch all of that?
Yeah, those are the stupid ones on YouTube. It's like I don't think the only time. I mean, I have watched like 1 or 2 of those where it's like this is actually a sort of interesting 5-minute advert.
That's happened.
Yeah, there's been a couple of like. Where you just want to see what the fuck is actually going to turn out. I mean, not that one. You can tell that one's terrible right from the start, where it's like, this is going to be painful bullshit the whole way through, isn't it? So just skip it.
I noticed The Division is starting to do the rounds at the moment for me. Like, Ubisoft ads are starting to kick in. What does it mean to be part of The Division? Do you remember what you swore or something? It's something like that. And then I skip.
Yeah, okay.
It's The Division. It's snowy.
Oh, yeah, apparently, which is weird.
Well, not right now. If you look at New York, jeez.
Yeah, but it's not that snowy, that's the trouble.
Do you hear, apparently, if you try and like drive somewhere in New York right now, you get arrested, or at least yesterday.
Well, yeah, because they shut down the city.
They shut everything down.
Like, the literal mayor came and said. It's not just a random thing. It's
no, it's not random.
Temporary law.
It's just how the Batman game started, isn't it? Like, they just shut the city down.
Yeah, totally.
And then Batman happens.
The start of Gotham. Like, they used to say that, like, Metropolis is basically New York City during the day, and Gotham is New York City at night, or it was, at least in the 70s.
Yeah.
That was the idea.
So it's New York City all day round.
Well, yeah.
Is that what you just said?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's what they're inspired by, or whatever. Metropolis is inspired by New York City during the day.
Oh,
and Gotham is New York
I
at
thought you
night.
said Gotham for both for some reason. It's like Gotham is like New York City. Gotham at night is like New York City.
Well, Gotham actually is Gotham actually is a nickname for New York City, unlike Metropolis. It's just no one uses it anymore.
Okay, I'm learning.
Today I learned. Yes. Anyway.
So I also wanted to talk in the random section.
Welcome to random.
Success.
Conveniently related to the YouTube bullshit we just talked about, sort of. I mean, vaguely. Is I wanted to mention briefly, talk about some of the dumb spam that I've been getting, because spam, it's always hilarious.
Yeah.
Ooh, spam.
So the main type of spam that I've been getting for quite a while now is the I don't know, it must be designed to like get past an automated filter at some point, but it makes it really obvious that it's spam, which is the ones where they do fake like service emails for, you know, Skype or YouTube.
Oh, proper phishing messages.
Yeah, where it's like,
yeah.
But they always follow the same format, which is like the subject line is always you have deferred messages or you have delayed messages, and then just a random word attached to the end.
Cabbages.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've got one in my email inbox at the moment that's like, you have deferred messages, retrograde.
Oh no, yeah, I've seen that one actually. Yeah.
And it's like, it must be getting past an automated filter at some point by doing that, but it makes it really like, why?
Yeah.
It's just like you look at the end of the line for the random word.
Splash damage.
No, I had one that said woofing.
Woofing. I'll go check my woof and Skype.
Yeah, but then the more interesting spam email I had like yesterday was it's like basically it's the meta email, it's meta spam, where it's basically a variation of the old Nigerian prince plan.
Right, yeah.
Like, we have money for you, send us all your details style. But like it's made up to look like it's from the US Treasury. And the like bullshit line in it is, we have money for people who have been victims of internet scams. Send us your details so we can give you this money. And like, wow, that's meta.
That's nice. I like that.
Scammers picking on the scams. It's like, we know this guy has been gullible once before. Let's go straight for the jugular.
It was the meta spam.
That's pretty good.
It's fairly weird. And also, in my email at the moment is mainly a lot of messages that I actually need, because I've been having problems with security annoyingly.
No.
Oh no.
I don't know how. Well, I don't know. Well, I don't
Are we
know.
all compromised?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, good.
Fuck you guys, I guess. But like, it started in like mid-December. I didn't really notice until late December that Russians had got into my Origin account.
Oh yes, you told us about this, I think.
And I was like, what? So I went and fixed that, which was luckily easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was actually going to have to fucking phone up a support line for some bullshit. But luckily I didn't. So I sorted that out. And then maybe in late December, but maybe a like really long time ago, and it just hasn't surfaced until now. Like, apparently back in 2014, at some point, there was a leak of like Minecraft like account details. And I'm not sure whether there's been another one or whether it's just like a very long tail off of that one. But like my Minecraft account got into.
Oh, weird. What could they get out of that though?
Well, my Minecraft account.
Other than that, like, does that really gain them anything?
It's worth money.
Like a copy of Minecraft.
Yes, exactly. But so it was just like, and that one was weird because after I like realized that my Minecraft account had been gotten into because there was emails coming to my email account that were like, change your account password. We like click here to to confirm.
To confirm, or was it okay?
So I was just like, oh well, I probably need to go change my password then for real. So I went and did that. But then when I actually like. At that point, I was like, well, this is weirdly coincidental because it's like my Origin account and my Minecraft account, but that's like not even related. Yeah. So then I was like, okay, I'll just Google search my email address and see if for some reason, like my email, because obviously it's actually my Origin account and my Minecraft account do both use the same email address.
Yeah.
And sort of partially for even the username, you could say, because the Minecraft one and the Origin one, you can use the email address as the login.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was like, well, shit, this could be bad. So I Googled that up, but the only thing what I found was basically YouTube videos that had lists of Minecraft usernames in.
Oh, wow. Weird. So what, it's a YouTube video that your name was in there, but Google had OCR'd it or something? They just put it in the comment.
But yeah, it was just like this huge long list in the description of Minecraft usernames and passwords. And I was like, well, that's shitty, but I guess that solves that problem.
Surely that's a really easy thing to get flagged and taken down.
Well, yeah, you'd think so. But I mean, I think it was just like, because I saw that email come in and I Googled it immediately, it was still there. Because I imagine it hopefully got taken down real quick.
Yeah.
I haven't actually looked again, so who knows?
I suppose it doesn't matter if you change it to something else.
No, so I did that. But then at that point, I was like, God damn it, I'll just go around and change all my fucking passwords because...
Dad, what are you doing? There's a lot of mic noise.
What am I doing? I don't know.
You're bumping your mic a lot, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm what?
You're bumping your mic against something.
No, I'm not.
I don't know. Okay.
That's weird.
Whatever.
So anyway.
There's a lot of noise.
Yeah, I went around and changed all... Nothing. Stop doing whatever you were doing.
I wasn't doing anything, man.
Do less.
So yeah, I went around and changed all my goddamn passwords. Although, when I actually came to think about it, I was like, how many accounts do I actually even have passwords for any longer? Because it's like, there's Origin, there's Steam, I went and changed my Kerbal Space Program website account and Factorio. And then I was like, that's it? I mean, there's Guild Wars and Eve, but they're on different passwords already. And I was like, that's most of them. I was thinking, that's weird. That doesn't seem like I have enough accounts.
Yeah. I like, there's a, obviously, it looks a bit dodgy, but of course it totally makes total sense. If you go into Chrome in the settings, it actually lists all the passwords it's got saved for you, and you can even uncover them because, of course, there's no secret there or whatever.
That's it's got to be two-way encrypted, right?
Exactly. So I find that quite useful because it gives you an entire list of all of the places where you've saved a login or whatever in Chrome. So it's like a list of all the sites you have logins for.
So I use LastPass to manage that and stuff like that because then it's distributed and things like that. But
I don't like any of that shit. So what I ended up doing was, because I'm dumb but not, I'm annoyed by things saving my password. But I'm also annoyed by having to remember a lot of different passwords. which is bad in itself.
Yeah, it's the age-old problem, right? You just can't win this battle.
So what I ended up doing basically was not to give away all my secrets, but I basically wrote an auto hotkey script to help me generate passwords that I can just type in. It's like the auto hotkey script modifies my keystrokes to generate passwords.
Oh, weird.
So I was like, that way I can remember a simpler password, but it's actually you typing in a much more complicated one.
I see. What, are you just doing like a Caesar shift or something on it? Or
well, I'm not going to say what exactly.
Okay. Well, of course, yeah.
Roll 13,
it's doing
everyone's
things.
favourite cipher.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my solution. It's bad, but it's better than me forgetting my passwords all the
It's
time.
something. Obfuscates it a little bit.
I've tried
make sure you remember what the script is.
Yeah, exactly.
And store that somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, no problems.
I thought it was probably safer than writing them down on physical paper.
Well, no, you never leave, so that's probably fine.
Because even if the script somehow got taken by someone, they wouldn't know exactly how I was using it.
That's true. Yeah.
It's just a thing that modifies keystrokes. You still have to know what the keystrokes are.
I did have a random email from Google. I don't know. I don't know if it was spam or not, but it basically
That's always good.
Yeah, but I investigated it nonetheless. It basically said it said someone has your password.
Sure.
And I'm like, right? Why would Google? That's a weird thing for them to send me. So I checked it out. Like, obviously not following any links in the email, doing everything properly, logging to Google separately, going to the account, and sure enough, like looking at it, there was a that you can see like login history for devices and stuff, and where it thinks they are in Google, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of them was like in Basingstoke, and I'm like,
okay.
Yeah, unless my IP address is weirdly reporting that I'm in Basingstoke, that doesn't seem right. So I went through the process of changing my password, setting up new two-factor and all that stuff, and it's like,
Disappointing.
Yeah. Fortunately, my Google account is like a unique password, so I was good, and they didn't seem to have done anything with. Well, presumably they got stopped by two-factor anyway.
Yeah,
hopefully
you'd think so.
Yeah, nothing seems to have happened.
But Basingstoke is never even very interesting place to get hacked from.
Define an interesting place to get. Well, like Bruges or something.
It's like my Origin account was the Russians, and my Minecraft account was I hesitate to say it was Arabic, but it was an Arabic name. So that could still be known from England, for all I know.
Yeah, Happy Salad has only ever been under attack by Russians.
They just don't like it.
Yeah, remember the old Happy Salad forum, being taken down by Russian script kids.
It's weird.
When forums were still a thing.
Yep. When we had forums for some reason.
Just for us.
I don't know. They sort of
It was just for us and like two other people.
I thought it was quite a nice reskinning of PHP BB. It was all right.
Yeah, it worked quite well. just slap some green on it.
Yeah.
So that was.
It's a bit weird how there isn't like a. I mean, there's that discourse thing, which I don't like, and I don't think anyone likes it, but there isn't like a forum software, like there's no like portable Reddit that you can just comments that you can just install, you know what I mean? Or whatever. You see what I mean? Or like Hacker News equivalent.
I mean, there are a few, aren't they? Like
some similar ones.
I mean, you can use Facebook comments, can't you, as a widget? And
yeah, that's true. Ugh.
But everyone's getting rid of comments now, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Soon there'll be no comments or forums.
Soon there will be no opinions.
We definitely
only YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Only YouTube video opinion pieces.
Well, that would be it. I was about to say
all opinions
I don't know.
All opinions must be expressed in podcast or video format only. No text.
I mean, that would be pretty funny if
you could only reply with videos.
On YouTube. Yeah,
that'd be great.
Instead of the comments below, you just have a whole list of videos of just face cams.
But then no one would ever watch them, right?
There should be a setting.
Who reads the comments?
Same
difference.
Yeah. That should be a setting because you could disable comments, right? So you should be able to disable comments, but enable like comment replies.
Yeah, but that doesn't actually work though, does it? Because everyone would just spam it with not comment videos.
Hey, check out my music video.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
down my channel.
you'd have to moderate that shit, I guess. But, like, you have to moderate comments, but it'd probably be easy with videos because they'll be slightly less.
Except who moderates comments on YouTube?
An American soccer mom makes $14,000 an hour
exactly.
just by staying at home. Whatever those things
Yeah,
are.
that's pretty much it. You covered the basics, soccer mums, and large amounts of cash per hour at home.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
To lose weight with this one stealth secret. This one weird trick to make insurance brokers like you.
Yeah. Go fuck up your credit history, do this thing.
I hate the internet.
There's one stealth secret. Paint yourself in radar.
As opposed to one completely obvious secret.
Oh dear. Right.
Oh man. How was skiing? You're alive, so there's that.
I'm alive. I didn't injure myself. I fell down quite a lot of times, but it was good because I only got bruises.
So you actually
no
skied?
breaks.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I did. I skied. I'd never done it before, and I was getting the hang of it by the second day. I had 2 lessons or whatever, so that was good. But then Kamel made me ski down the mountain, and that was like, how slow can I actually go? Let's find out. Took bloody ages.
How slow can you go?
How slow can you go? Yeah, but I managed to make it down. I walked down the last slope in the end because I was just too tired and it was too steep, and I was like, fuck it. But yeah, it was generally cool, and I'm, excuse me, looking forward to going back.
And burp.
And burp.
Yeah, that's pretty good descriptor, I think.
Yeah, although the trouble was it was like not just a skiing holiday, it was a heavy drinking holiday. So it was like all the skiing was hungover and there wasn't much sleep to be had. So
yeah, we predicted that part.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, it wasn't Austria. It was Andorra, which is in the Pyrenees. It's between Spain and France, I guess.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a bit weird going south to the snow, but it was pretty high up. And I did that stupid because I'd never been in the mountains before like that, apart from maybe Scotland, but not like snowy mountains. And I did that dumb thing, that video game. Do you ever get that where you're like you're somewhere that you've never seen before, and you look around and you're like, wow, this is like Skyrim. or whatever. you know, or you go to LA and you're like, wow, this is like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, so that's a bit more literal.
Yeah. But yeah, I did get that feeling. It's pretty cool.
Wow, I never realised that this insert game here nailed snow effects.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, wow, it's like a blizzardy and snowy, and like it's amazing.
Amp 3 was dead on with its snow sharks.
Yeah, in fact, it did give you that feeling going down one of the slopes of like, hang on a minute, this is exactly like fucking Cool Borders 3 or some shit. I don't know, except with the skis for me. Other people are snowboarding.
Where's my jump indicator so I can perfectly grind this rail?
Exactly. That's what I want to know. Yeah, so it was cool.
I'm quite jealous.
Are you?
Yeah,
I'd quite like to actually be able to ski.
Well, yeah, we should go. It's expensive, but this thing was subsidized because it was a company trip, so that made it worthwhile or whatever. So, but I think it's quite a pain to actually do, but totally worth it, I'm sure. I'd quite like to go for like a week or maybe less, maybe like 4 or 5 days or something.
Yeah,
rather than like I basically only did 2 days of actual skiing. So it'd be cool to and not drink constantly. That might make it easier to learn.
I'd imagine. I can't imagine attempting to ski whilst hungover. Like all I'd want to do is like be the Kevin Hermit and like you've got no fires, right? Sorted.
People did that, but like then you're wasting your ski pass, which is very expensive. So, and the thing is, it's quite
you just don't drink enough.
You see, it wakes you up being in the cold or whatever, and it's very bright and night good air and a chill in the air and stuff, and obviously that kind of it's quite good for hangovers, I would say. And you don't really notice after a while, but at first it's like, whoa. I mean, the main problem was going up the gondola to the summit that's swinging in the wind when you're like feeling sick. Yeah, that was the bad part. Yeah, we got stuck on a gondola at one point in the dark, in the wind, and it stopped. And we're like, what's wrong with it? And it took like 10 minutes before it started moving again. I think
you're like, if they turned it off for the night.
Yeah. I was like, what's going on? And it was dark as well. There were no lights in the gondola. They gave us like a torch, which is a bit weird. Anyway, and then apparently I heard the reason it stopped was because it was too windy. And I'm like, okay.
But we're on it.
what happens? Yeah, but we're on it. Like, what happens if it just keeps getting windier? Like, do we just stay up here? Anyway,
That's.
Yeah,
Is it? I don't know. Is it worse if it's moving and it's windy? Like,
Probably.
maybe.
what's
I don't
that
know.
based on?
Yeah, it was weird. So, yeah, weirdness. And we did another shitty thing, which was like going down a slope on like rubber rings, where they're like a donut. Have you done that? And you just jump onto.
Well, there's
them.
there's plenty of fail videos of people
It's-
just like,
yeah,
I haven't
yeah,
got
yeah.
any control. Let's go into a bar on a
Yeah,
rubber ring.
There's
Whee!
literally no control at all, and it's not very good. So I wouldn't recommend that one. I think they did it because they wanted like a group activity, because everyone was like skiing according to or snowboarding according to their skill level. So you could go a whole day without seeing people on the mountain. So they wanted like a group activity, but it was a bit lame.
I don't know. That sounds like it could still be fun. It's like,
Yeah, it was sort of fun. It was more fun when you get a bigger ring and you have multiple people pile onto it at once.
oh, you should just get a raft, right? Just
Yeah,
raft down the slope.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect going up because I didn't know how big these like rings would be. I kind of thought it might even be like the equivalent of those those
Banana
rapids rides where you're in a ring and you're facing inwards on seats and they spin around.
That would be fine.
But on a mountain.
I'd be up for that.
Yeah, that would be cool. They should make that. It might be dangerous, but I don't know.
Well, those boat things are probably quite heavy.
I know.
Work.
But that would make you go faster.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't work. Because it would be insanely dangerous.
You just need to have an appropriately area with enough walling, I suppose. Because the inflatable bits would just bounce up.
It's not about walling; it's about stopping.
Well, yeah, you just sort of you have to put it on just the right bit, so there's like an incline or a.
At the end, yeah.
Yeah,
and they had a net, I guess, but you'd have to have quite a big net for one of those things and an incline. Yeah. So yes, skiing, I recommend. And I don't know because I was enjoying learning, but I can't be bothered to go to the fucking Milton Keynes or some shit and go on a dry. That sounds rubbish. I wanted to ski on actual snow. It was awesome.
Well, those things are supposed to be pretty close. In terms
are they?
Of, if you're actually trying to learn how to ski, and those things are better than.
Okay.
The Milton Keynes internal facilities as opposed to a dry slope.
Right.
I mean, dry slopes kind of suck.
Right.
Unless you're already good, in which case you could probably do stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're learning,
because
as I proved with snowboarding, the dry slope was rubbish, and those, but apparently those proper indoor cold places, freezer warehouses, because pretty good.
Oh, good. Okay, maybe give it a try. But I don't know. I might as well just wait and then go. Because it snowed the first night after the first lesson, and then it was really good snow on the ground the second day, and it's amazing. You can just fall over, and it doesn't hurt at all, really, even when you're going pretty fast.
Fabulous.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oof. Put a spray behind you of.
Yeah, spraying people.
My face was in that.
Everyone managed to avoid me. I was quite impressed by everyone else's skills on the slope because, obviously, I could just about. And that was the thing. You're concentrating on what you're doing and what your body's doing and stuff, and you don't really have that much situational awareness apart from I'm trying to go this way. You're not really looking for other people screaming towards you, but they seem to be really good at avoiding you, so it works out. I was doing the snow plow thing or whatever because obviously it's the first thing they teach you, but I kept crossing the tips when I should have pushed out the backs.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's really annoying.
So then you sort of just face plant, or
yeah, well, yeah. I don't know. It goes a bit wrong, but it's cool. Yeah. But I didn't play any computer games. I even downloaded that Pocket Morty's thing to play it, and I haven't played that yet.
Pocket Morty's.
Yeah, there's a Rick and Morty Pokemon game official. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. Yeah. And so everyone's desperate for Rick and Morty stuff because the next season is ages away, a year or something. So this is the latest content or whatever. And it actually looks really cool and fun. It's a free iOS game or whatever, or probably Android as well. Free mobile game. But it's literally Pokemon.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to do that. Yeah, probably. Yeah, exactly.
Games.
Well, news. Have we even done it? Like what?
Hey, we haven't even said what this podcast is about.
Well, let's talk about
What is it about?
vague news first.
This podcast is about video games.
This podcast about video games.
Like mainly.
Just keep talking over Zach.
I'm gonna keep talking. Screw you guys.
Vague news.
Like,
Who wants vague news?
It's basically games that are sort of going to come out shortly, but aren't really. They just don't seem to be being advertised at all in any cases. Like I
need the old Nintendo eShop music for this. Like.
I guess. But so obviously there's the Division, which is not that far off, and it's been very weird. Like the leaked. I guess is it still alpha that they're, or is that a beta now that they're doing?
What
The Division. They've been doing a trial.
There's been a lot of closed betas going on for the Division. I don't know if they've done an open one yet.
Yeah. So there's been footage leaking out of that, and of course the traditional thing that's happened is everyone is being like, "Wow, this looks so shit," and it's like, well, yeah, that's because that's not the actual assets. That's the smaller assets that they've used to make this download, not gigantic.
Yeah. Well, they don't always do that. Like, yeah, not every beta has all the content up to scratch, but a lot of them do.
But yeah,
so I guess at this point it's still kind of hard to tell. But
yeah. But then like the gameplay, it's just like I don't know. I watched a bit of it, and it just looks like Destiny, but in a modern setting. Like you shoot things, and numbers come out, and then they die, and then you shoot more things. And then you loot some crates and get gear that you attach, and it even looks vaguely like the Destiny inventory system, like sort of squares.
I wonder if that's what. I wonder if like some of the there was some of Division's delays where because Destiny came out and they were like they looked at that and thought, yeah, this is way better than what we've got.
Well, I don't know. Maybe.
Because that makes me wonder, like, obviously, it's like, are Ubisoft really just going to play the copycat game? Or is this what they originally intended?
Or is there actually more to it and just not in the beta?
Yeah.
So there's that.
They've just got to make the core gameplay appealing, right? That's the trick. They've got to make it not all about just making the numbers go up.
Yeah.
They've actually got to make it... If you're making a shooter, right, you've got to have some level of skill to it.
Yeah.
But then that's the scaling.
And also some interesting things that aren't just always the same type of shooting.
Yeah.
Give you reasons to use different weapons.
Well, yeah, is it even going to have some sort of progression? Is there going to be a storyline by which you can move about is it actually going to have a point to make you progress?
Well, you have to assume probably. I mean, even Destiny had that sort of.
Sort of.
So there's that. There's XCOM 2's nearly out.
Hooray!
There's slightly more footage of that because that's more official. That's actually the one that's got sort of advertising, I guess.
Yeah, what do you think of the sort of latest sort of? There's been quite a few quick look type things around.
Yeah, I haven't been watching any of them really.
Right. Okay.
I don't think I don't think anything's changed from what they've been showing. Really, it's just more of it.
Yeah.
Random levels. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, they say that, but
well, sure. I reckon there'll be a couple of fixed arenas for like certain.
Well, I mean, there'll probably be fixed arenas for the missions. Storyline missions.
Yeah,
presumably. But I mean, they can say random levels, but what does that really mean? How small are the parts that are randomized is the question. Because if it's just like this car is parked on the other side of the street this time, it's like that's not really that significant.
That can make a difference, though.
Yeah,
you can, but it's still obviously the same level, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true.
I think they specifically went out of their way. I think the reason why they said that, was to specifically just go out of their way to say, yeah, you know what, we're going a little bit more towards the original XCOM's design.
Yeah.
So
it's not like the original XCOM's randomized levels, but actually that random either. It's still like the same buildings, just laid out in a different arrangement.
I think whatever level, whatever level they do will be better than what they had.
Well, yes, because it wasn't really random at all previously.
Yeah, it wasn't at all other than enemy positioning.
So there's that. What else? Oh, something that only I'm interested about. I didn't really realise, but I suddenly had a remembrance that Super Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is actually coming out shortly.
Yep.
It's been out for quite a while in America, of course, because for some reason that's the one that is the opposite way round.
Yeah, how come that isn't like a bigger deal if you say if it's really, really good?
Because it's still a spin-off.
It is still a spin-off.
Pokemon.
And generally, they do make quite a lot of those games. Not many of them make it to the American or the like the mystery dungeons, not necessarily the Pokemon,
it's
but
like
the mystery dungeon thing. There's a lot of them.
It's like the Pokemon one is actually a spin-off of a different thing entirely. It's not just a spin-off of Pokemon, it's a spin-off of the mystery dungeon format.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So there are quite a lot of those games, and I think in the West, they aren't considered by the mainstream as very good. Like, just the general feeling about them is not that it's never been that they're great games, and so maybe if they even if they have improved them to the point, as Zach says, these are legitimately good, maybe people just don't care anymore.
Well, but maybe they should.
Maybe they should. Yeah,
it's probably they didn't get in early enough, maybe, because it's like, I mean, the earlier Pokemon Mystery Dungeons, people say those were better than the DS one,
right?
Because it was like they were like more complicated, supposedly.
Oh, what? So not
like better mechanics. No, I mean the Pokemon ones.
Oh, okay.
But like better mechanics in general, and then like supposedly the 3DS one was kind of simplified.
Oh, okay. So what? The ones prior to when you jumped in were actually better ones.
Yeah, like the GBA and Game Boy ones, supposedly. But supposedly Super is meant to be getting back towards being more complicated again. Like it might be going back up towards the older ones. So we'll see.
I was supposed to say, was the first Pokemon Mystery Dungeon the one you've played?
Yeah.
Was that the first one that came to UK, or did they actually release the DS?
I don't know.
Prior? Okay.
I think they probably did.
Yeah.
But of course, we didn't pay attention.
It does fly really low on the radar, doesn't it? For some reason.
Yeah. And especially because it's Pokemon, you think they would have pushed it a bit more.
Yeah.
Pokemon. You can sell any shit with Pokemon.
Well, they pushed Pokemon Picross hard enough, right?
Well, not really.
I don't know. It got mentioned in various things. It's like I don't think Mystery Dungeon has really been mentioned in many.
Yeah, that's true.
In many broadcasts, many Nintendo communiques.
Yeah, and it's weird. Like, I mean, it seems weirder to us because of the dramatically split launch date. Like the fact that it already came out in America, like at least 2 months before it comes out in Europe, is really strange. It's quite a long time.
I mean, it's not that uncommon for Nintendo, right? Though.
Well, no, but
it goes one direction or the other, right? The UK will get it early, or the America will get it earlier. It's very rare that there's actually a joint release.
But it's still that still seems weird for the marketing. It was just Bravely Default was the opposite.
Woody's World was like 3 or 4 months behind the UK release. For the Americans got it super late.
Yeah. It just seems that's why it's hard to tell whether they're not marketing it or whether it's just because the marketing is only targeted at the market that can actually get it. Like maybe there was a lot of marketing on American angles and we just didn't see that. And now that the game's come out there, no one's doing it any longer.
Yeah.
So who knows? What else? There's some other things. I've forgotten. There were some other games. Oh, there's 2 games that sort of... Oh, wait, of course, there's the important one. The Witness comes out on Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Suddenly.
After all the silence, they suddenly Tuesday. Come on.
So, yeah, I guess I'm going to have to play that. I'm mainly curious about seeing how much bullshit the 20 to 40 hours is.
Yeah.
Is it
because that seems quite ridiculous.
To 100%, isn't it?
Is it a simultaneous release then for PC and PS4? Or...
Apparently.
Yeah.
Right. They're not going to do a timed exclusive thing or something with PS4. That's cool.
No. I guess it's not important enough.
But they made a big deal of it, on the PS4 reveal. That was ages ago.
Well, yes, that's part of the problem.
Well, they've always used the phrase console exclusive with it,
Right.
Well, sure, because it's not going out on Xbox, certainly.
Well, it might eventually. Well, It might be a console timed exclusive, but we just
But yeah, I'm interested about how long it actually is. Also, I'm kind of...
I'm not sure I want a game like that to be that long, is the thing.
I kind
of want puzzle games to be just the right length, unless it's one of those, I don't know, like a block puzzle or something that you get super into.
Well, how long did you think Antechamber was, really?
Antechamber was about the right length. I don't like actually how long it took me in the end, but that felt about, it didn't outstay its welcome.
Because the thing about The Witness, well, one of the things is the sort of worrying rumor, or possibly seeing through the facade rumor that I've heard, is that we may be in a everyone's gone to the Rapture kind of situation where the walking speed might be quite slow and you can't go any faster. And I'm like, so how much does that add to the 20 to 40 hours? If I'm forced to walk really slowly between puzzles, that might not be legit.
These puzzles better not be big enough that requires all this walking.
Well, the trouble, the very small amounts of information that Jonathan Blair's been saying about it, he's like, the walking speed is what supposedly is what he said. He was like, the walking speed might be quite slow in order that when you're traveling around the world, you look at things for longer and ponder them. It's like, fine, okay, whatever. But if I just want to go somewhere, I'm hoping that if there is like a slow walking speed, that there's at least like a fast travel to places you've already been, maybe to sort of counteract it a bit. Because it's like, if he wants you to ponder things while you're walking towards them, that's fine the first time. If I'm walking down the same route again, I don't need that time to ponder any longer. I've already seen it.
I'm just going to go investigate that random crash noise.
Yes, Rob needs to go and see the loud noise in his house. So yeah,
well, you need a little checkbox, don't you? So that after you've walked through an area, it has a little pondered mark next to it. This has been pondered.
And that should just be like, that's the achievements. That's the achievement for you getting entering a new area. You've pondered this area.
Not entered, but having spent enough time
traversed
or something. Yeah, traversed it. Yeah.
Also, I'm kind of like in a similar vein to like being interested about the 20 to 40 hour thing. Is there's been like the preview videos, they show like flybys over the island, and that island doesn't look big enough to contain 20 to 40 hours worth of puzzles. Even though they're like these tiny little screens, supposedly, like every puzzle is based on these little computer screens.
And there's definitely just the one island, right? Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That's the thing, of course.
Yeah.
There could be other islands, or like 50% of the game could be underground or something. But yeah, that island looks quite small for for being the only environment of this game we've seen.
Of course, it won't be pondered. It will be witnessed.
Yep, naturally.
Oh, God. Anyway.
So you see how many achievements have that in it. Hopefully just one. Like,
you've completed the game. Yeah, witnessed. Sweet. Yeah,
so there's that.
I'm still sort of cautiously optimistic about the witness.
Sure. I mean, hopefully the puzzles are actually good.
Yeah.
That's the important thing, I guess, in the end. The other sort of question about it in terms of puzzles is always like the Fez angle of like how esoteric does it get in terms of like, are we going to be taking notes on this shit?
Right. Are you going to be collaborating with the rest of the internet to try and solve this or something? I don't think it's going to be quite like that. And that's not really his style, is it, Jonathan Blow? It's more like you're in a vacuum.
Well, I don't know, because like the super secret hidden stars in Braid were ridiculous. Like some of those things you could probably not have ever worked out by yourself. But then it's not really a collaboration either, because in that case it was just like one or two insanely observant and crazy people.
Found it, yeah.
Yeah, and then just proliferated. Proliferated. Proliferated.
You're getting it all wrong. What's it? Transversed or something?
Yes,
anyway, transversed.
That's a different word from traversed. I think it's still a
word.
Transfarring.
So there's that.
Did that ever happen? Did transfarring ever...
What, digital lockers and all that shit? I think it happened for a moment and then it went away.
Yeah. So I think as soon as they said that word, perhaps they'd like audibly felt the groan. Just like... And they were like, oh no, backtrack.
And then, so not really so much in games that are going to come out immediately, like The Witness and all these other ones. XCOM and Pokemon and all that.
I really kind of hope The Witness is good.
Yes.
Like, I just want, like...
I bet it'll be good.
I think it's just because it's Jonathan Blow, right? Like, just because...
Well, also because it's been like 8 years.
Yeah.
That's always also like, you really want something that's coming after 8 years of work. It's like The Last Guardian. If that isn't at least decent at this point, it's going to be the worst thing ever.
Like, you could argue that, you know, that him and the other characters in Indie Game, the movie, you know, they kind of were the genesis of the current state of indie games, right? You know, they on the cusp of this. So you kind of want good things for them, right? Because otherwise we might not have had such.
Well, maybe
games.
not Phil Fish.
Like,
I don't know.
Well, yeah, okay. He may not be the most stable of people, but come on, man, Fez.
Well, Fez too, which is not ever going to happen apparently.
No.
The thing that I found weird about The Witness, actually, when I was looking at it on Steam, is it's tagged as indie, and it just doesn't feel like an indie game any longer. It seems
it's been in development for so long.
Yeah, it's like 8 years, and he has a team, and
it's one of those things
it's quite big, supposedly.
I mean, do you consider things like the Talos Principle as an indie game? Like,
not really.
Yeah, because that's the. I mean, that's the guys that made Serious Sam.
Yep, it is.
It's like, yeah, so it's not really an indie game, but it's that sort of ilk, right? That like the Talos Principle and The Witness occupy the same space in my head.
It's like is it just that they're first-person puzzle worlds, like Antichamber was?
Well, yeah, even Numa, which is, I guess, even closer to being an indie game, like fills that space. It's that.
It just doesn't seem like they fit with the indie idea any longer so much. I mean, The Witness especially. If it's as big as it claims to be,
Blow probably had a team.
Less.
Blow probably had a team this time, right? He kind of worked on his own.
And also, it's coming out on PlayStation. Not that that's necessarily an anti-indie thing any longer, but it's quite a supposedly important PlayStation game, I guess, considering how much they pushed it.
Yeah, it's high profile. Yeah, I'll give it that. I really hope it's good.
Yep, we'll see.
I really hope it's good.
And then finally, in vague game release related news, I guess, I had another sudden remembrance the other day.
Remembrance. Whenever you say remembrance, it makes me like I'm suddenly imagining reefs being set down. Reefs being set down somewhere. It's like in memoriam.
Yeah, remembrance
of these games that have come to pass.
I had a sudden remembrance that
let's have a ceremony.
That neither of those roller coaster tycoon type games have come out.
Oh yeah,
and I hadn't heard anything for ages because I hadn't really been paying attention. I did, sometime last year, have this same remembrance and went and looked at them again. But then I had it again, more recently, and it turns out there's been some actual action happening in both cases. So you've got Roller Coaster Tycoon World, which is made by Atari. They have the brand, but, not really living up to the legacy of the actual old games. It's new teams and new engines and not really any of the same people or anything. It's just the name and the vague idea. So they ran a beta in December. The game was actually meant to come out in December, but they ran this beta and everyone shit on it. So it got delayed until sometime early 2016.
Sorry, which one was this?
That's Roller Coaster Tycoon World.
Okay.
The Atari one. So yeah, it got shit on fairly vigorously. Supposedly, it's mostly just... It is
vigorous.
Fairly vigorously shat on. Moderately vigorously.
Supposedly it's
it's a downpour.
Some parts of it are okay, like the spline roller coaster construction is quite a nice system when it works.
It's sort of not grid based.
Yeah. So. When it works it's quite good, but it has a tendency to break quite easily, so it was still quite buggy. And
Big Jeffrey.
Yes, and supposedly quite a lot of content. I mean, it was beta, so they didn't have all the content in, so it was hard to say. But it didn't seem like it was a very complete product at that point, which was another reason it was they have to delay this, because it doesn't seem like it's done. So yeah, that got delayed until early 2016, whereas the other one, Planet Coaster, which is made by Frontier.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
They are partially responsible for Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, which that's not the best Roller Coaster Tycoon, but it was in the spirit of the first two, I guess. So they had up until June of last year, there'd been basically silence. Then suddenly around the middle of the year, pre-orders appeared with absolutely no more information, which was weird. I think I commented on that at the time.
Wasn't there another trailer popped up or something?
A very vague trailer.
Didn't actually really show any game.
No. And it was no, pre-orders. It's there's been literally no information about this ever since you announced the name of it. But since then, they've sort of started putting small amounts of information. There's basically animation renders and then a couple of dev diary things. And occasionally you can see the devs playing the game in them, over their shoulder or whatever, in their dev diary vision.
Is Chris Sawyer involved in any of these?
No, right. I don't think so.
Because he was the guy, right? Yeah.
So yeah, Planet Coaster looks like it might actually be a game, as it turns out, and that's coming out in March. So approximately the same time as Roller Coaster Tycoon, by the looks of it.
Well, maybe they saw each other and we need to compete.
But yeah, Planet Coaster looks a lot more like Roller Coaster Tycoon. Like that sort of semi-cartoony style, I guess.
But in gameplay, sort of forcing it to the grid, like
no, it still seems to be mostly free of the grid. There are some grid-based parts, like it seems to be. I don't know really if anyone remembers this, but in Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, it had scenery that you built like walls per tile. So you could construct like fake buildings by using these tiled walls to construct a vague shell of a structure. But it didn't really matter in that game, of course.
No, it's just for you.
Yeah. So Planet Coaster seems to be trying to basically bring that back. Like you can sort of build buildings part by part by using these walls, but they still have functional parts attached to that.
I suppose you could, like, if you like theme a coaster consistently, maybe and have the dudes walking around to be all like, oh, this is cool, and they affect them.
It seems like that's probably the aim, and that's the classic like Roller Coaster Tycoon problem of like how advanced can you make that system?
Yeah,
because in theory you could do some quite clever things, like you could actually maybe like calculate the eye lines of the people riding the roller coaster and be like, oh, this scenery is right in their eye line as the dramatic thing is happening or whatever, and actually have it count or whatever. You could do it if you wanted to, but that's probably computationally annoying.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that Planet Coaster also seems to have is like the terrain is a voxel like deformable grid, so you can morph it however you want and like actually make like proper overhangs and tunnels and all that kind of stuff. So that looks pretty cool. So we'll see if either of those actually come out in March time. Because neither of them, like Roller Coaster Tycoon World, didn't seem finished in December, and so how much more are they going to get done in 3 months?
Yeah.
And Planet Coaster, there just hasn't been enough information to determine whether they'll be done in 3 more months.
Yeah, who knows what even that game really is? It's tricky. Speaking of Frontier,
did
you see the stuff going down in the new Elite content? Like people discovering mysterious alien biology things that seem to give off materials, but no one really knows what they do.
Sure.
And it's like, I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting. Elite's starting to play that mystery card.
Or it's just like content that they haven't finished yet because they're still in. This is the whole thing of that DLC is it's not.
Oh,
it's like an early access.
I know, but I kind of like that it's because it's like the way they're doing it. Like actually, this makes this evolve over time, right? Like because they haven't gone all in on like the alien stuff in Elite.
Yeah.
Like from where they used to be in the original games. So it's like presumably that's where this is all going, right? They're going to go to being picked up by I want to say they were the Zargons or something like that. Like, are we going to see the giant pink space horses? That's where it goes. Giant pink space horses.
Clearly.
Apparently, Elite has sold 1.4 million and is doing pretty well. I sort of worried that.
It's not a bad number for the sort of, the
slow
excessive simulation that they went for, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. So apparently they're in a good position financially to carry on with that. So that's kind of cool.
I wonder how much of that has come out of the Xbox version, and or their efforts to map things to controllers better.
Yeah, I don't know. But still, that's cool.
Yeah, interesting. And, it's a good game to have hanging around for the VR onslaught.
Yeah, it says something here about them focusing on Steam VR. Not sure what that's about.
Okay.
I think it's because Steam VR is like a back end almost.
Well, yeah, Steam VR is the one open platform, right? So in theory, there's nothing stopping Oculus, for instance, being all like, "Oh, this is an open protocol.
Yeah,
we'll just hook into that, so we can still use it." Presumably, they might run into troubles with their various types of motion controllers, but not that I really think those are applicable to Elite in this case. But I think for PC developers, I think there's a high likelihood of people building their VR experiences for Steam VR just because it's an open source platform.
Yeah,
and it's and the rest of everyone else can just sort of be we can use that too. Doesn't matter what headset you buy. But you buy ours, so you can use our proprietary stuff and the open stuff.
That's the way. Well, we still don't know that much about the Vive thing compared to the Oculus.
Well, no, I just want to see at some point, after they've come out and stuff, there must be a straight up stat comparison people can do, right? Oh, this has much higher frame rate. The latency is this.
Yeah,
it's like my money is still on Oculus simply because
have we talked about
taken
the
a lot
Oculus
longer to
pricing
do this.
on the cast?
Yeah, we touched on it last cast. What was it, $499 in this country?
Well, once with shipping, it's like $520 or something, probably.
Yeah, and obviously no touch controllers, but it comes bundled with an Xbone.
Yeah,
pad.
And they're going like, oh, you can just sell that if you've got one. Just a weird thing to say. Yeah,
it might not cost them anything.
I don't think it does.
Just once. Yeah, have an Xbone controller. But yeah, that doesn't sound like a. I mean, everyone's a little bit, as we talked about last time, everyone's a little bit annoyed. That's quite pricey. This isn't going to pan out for you. But it's like, what did you expect? These are these are ridiculous bits of kit.
Well, yeah. As we said, we're still waiting to see what the other ones are priced at, because that'll be where we find out whether it's really that pricey or whether it's still a bit of a hike.
Well, the rumor is that the PlayStation VR will be the cost of a console. What's that, like $300 or something?
Yeah. Again, I don't think that's that far off. I think
it won't be as good.
I get the impression the Oculus is probably going to be the most expensive of the three. Because I'm still hanging on to the theory that Oculus have worked on this for a lot longer, therefore their stuff is probably going to be slightly more advanced than the other two. Well, PlayStation VR is obviously going to be the least advanced.
Yeah,
but that's where my money is right now.
Yeah,
and I don't think you'll get a bad buy with any of these, right? Because if you buy PlayStation VR, Sony seem to be going pretty heavy on making sure that a lot of games have some level of VR in them. And I think if you got the Steam one, it's an open platform, there's a high chance it'll get a great deal of support. And if you get the Oculus, well, you're getting that great deal of support, but probably the most technologically advanced and stuff that only works on Oculus will work too.
Yeah.
It's probably, it's a classic case of all of these are good enough, you get what you pay for.
I mean, I guess the Vive has that slightly different approach with the cameras and the.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on the fact. I don't think anyone will ever have the setup for that. Not enough will have the setup for that for it to really matter in the marketplace. I think it's cool, and I think there will be it would be awesome in sort of marketing environments, right? Oh, take a look around this car. Have a virtual walk around this car that we haven't made yet.
I mean, that is definitely becoming a thing. I've noticed in agencies already, just in my line. That seems to be the main use of VR right now in terms of
building design, home design, that kind of stuff. That's great. That's ideal. For the Vive will make itself a marketplace there, if not in the gaming space. It's
because Ho basically runs like a external team or third party from her agency team of Unity devs, basically. So they quickly make 3D experiences that run on. So their thing is they realize that the actual quality doesn't matter that much for the or at least right now, because it's such early tech. So instead of having the Oculus with the wires coming out of it, they're just using the Gear VR or whatever, which is Oculus branded or whatever. But that way you can walk around in the that whatever event you're at or whatever they are. So and so they're making stuff in Unity that runs on Android or whatever, quickly to make a little marketing thing. That seems to be the way at the moment. So it'd be interesting to see.
It needs to be good enough to make an impression, right?
Yeah, it just needs to be good enough. So it's a question of whether people are speculating about what's going to happen with Gear VR and what the next kind of basically Oculus for but less money will be, and less advanced.
PlayStation VR.
Because I was pretty impressed by the Gear VR compared to the DK1. And obviously it's just one phone, it's just one phablet or whatever, and it's quite light or whatever. So, and all the processing is on the phone, so it can't be that great, but actually it's fine, for that kind of, just initial wow of VR. Obviously you want the proper full-on experience for proper games.
As I say, I still think that thing has a good enough use. Like, say, you're just you're an architect mocking up designs for something, and you want to have someone experience. All right, this is what it might look like. In the same way, do you remember the old Time Team mock-ups, or any kind of old CG mock-up used to be kind of terrible on TV? Actually, that's kind of all you need, to get an impression. And if it's in VR, great, even more of an impression. I think it's a rosy future, whichever way it goes. But maybe I won't go in at £600.
At 600 quid, yeah.
Pounds,
yeah. Use.
Hey, do you want to know more NX rumors?
Yeah, I totally do.
So the current rumors flying around, I can't say that I know what the source was or anything like that. The current rumors flying around that Nintendo plans to release something at the cost of $200, which is low.
$199.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the thing. Sorry to go back to, but of course, who is it? Not Kojima. Who's the guy? Kaz Hirai tweeted taking the piss out of Oculus for pricing their thing at $599, and it's like,
it's like I'm not 100% sure. I mean, if anyone's going to make that joke, maybe Kaz should be the one to do it. But at the same time, boy, didn't you see that coming? Like, like you made that mistake, man.
Yeah, exactly. Shut up. Shut up in your face. Anyway, carry on.
So yes, $200 with again, you've got to bear in mind that like no one actually really knows what this thing, and yet already there are like resolution things flying around. It's like, it's going to be 900p, not 1080, 900p, but with the ability to run up to 60 frames per second.
What?
This is weird, and these are the weird details that have come out of somewhere, and which to me this sounds like they're absolutely going to make a handheld first, branded NX,
right,
and then like this console counterpart will come later, which was a previously established rumor. In fairness, that maybe this handheld variant will come out late this year,
right,
and that some kind of console companion will come next year.
But bloody mobile screens are way better than HD. I don't know why 900p. Anyway, yeah. Well, some of them are.
It's one of those things like the screens on mobiles are friggin' amazing, but you're like powering those for a compelling gaming experience. It's actually kind of hard, right?
Oh, totally, yeah.
Like it's not if you want both battery life and fidelity and stuff like that, it's like, and speed. It's like,
I guess that's
like I still don't rate the iOS land, right? Like even if you had a brand new iPad and stuff like that, and you're running like what is it, the 1500 odd p displays that those have, it's like I don't know, iOS games like they're not for that. They're not for that slick performance. They're not. Sorry, Asphalt, or whatever your series is, you're just not. It's like nothing appeals there. I'm sure your sales figures say otherwise. But and I can understand why Nintendo would want to like perhaps knock down a couple of specs, especially get the price down, get handhelds in people's
hands. Yeah. I mean that's way better performance than a DS, but
sure, yeah, way better screen than what they have now.
The only important question is, will it play DS games?
Will it even be dual
compatible?
screen? I mean, I'm not convinced it will be a dual screen device. I'm not convinced that it might.
Well, if it's high enough resolution, you could like turn it portrait and then just split screen.
Yeah, for sure. No one knows if it's even a touchscreen device yet, although it probably has to be.
It almost certainly.
The question is whether it will be a touchscreen that's good, or whether it will still be a shitty single touch, not capacitive screen, or whatever.
Well, it's probably cheap enough to get smartphone screens now at this point that they might as well. It's probably cheaper to buy off-the-shelf smartphone parts than it is to make your own weird capacitive touchscreen thing.
Probably. Is it going to be Wii U compatible? Is the other question that's flying around. It's like because this design would work, right? It would like if you had your companion device maybe powering the Wii U, or even if the device itself was as strong as a Wii U, which might be questionable, then. Yeah, don't know. So that's the current rumor mill.
Total mystery, basically.
Yeah,
like you said about the Wii U, probably at the time, it's just like theoretically any device could be a Wii U tablet because it's just receiving a video signal, basically.
Yeah, there is something about that whatever codec they're using or whatever means by which they are moving that signal
super
across
low latency.
That is still super impressive, and I don't think I've seen anywhere else that good. I mean, like the Wii U screen obviously doesn't like when you put the video over it and stuff like that. Obviously, there is a resolution drop as it hits the screen, and there is a fidelity drop. You know, there are encoding artifacts in places. It doesn't seem to like red. I've noticed.
Well, what
like,
does?
Red looks super pixely, like around the edges and things. But yeah, just the low latenciness of that thing is still really very impressive. It's like things that Steam streaming or whatever needs to,
You don't know
or any kind of home streaming. Well, I don't know. Like there's every report I've read said there's still like latency. And
yes, but I tried it and I could play Rogue Legacy just fine. So that can't be that high latency. Rogue Legacy is quite an immediate kind of game.
Yeah. I've never seen it work well.
No, you haven't seen it at all, really.
Well, if it's all of the same technology that everyone seems to have suddenly started using, like the Xbox streaming isn't great, and it's pretty good. I'll give it that. It's pretty good, but it's noticeable. The problem is noticeable, and like I don't like noticing problems. Let's just put it that way. Like, because it immediately makes me think, well, I shouldn't be doing it like this.
Yeah, fair enough.
But you don't need to do it like that anyway, so that's not actually a problem for you.
It isn't a problem for me. I'm just I'm just criticizing. Because I can.
Blah.
I mean, if you wanted to, you probably could test the Steam streaming within your house. You have sufficient computers that theoretically could run Steam on them.
Yeah, probably. We'll be running over Powerline network. I could probably get that. Which might be reasonably ideal situations, like not quite LAN, but probably much better than Wi-Fi.
I mean, I was running over wireless and it was fine.
Wireless has always been inherently latency though.
It was fine.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that was before I got that new wireless card, probably. No, I think it was probably after. So I probably was on 5 gigahertz, if that really makes any difference.
Dong. Dong. Right, what you been playing? That's what I want to know.
Killed that dog. Wasn't that the old
Tell me.
Shooting stars thing?
Vic Reeves thing.
Dog to walk on and just fall over. He killed that dog. Oh boy, not a lot new to be honest from me. This past few weeks, still plowing away at Metal Gear.
I have basically stopped Metal Gear for the time being, so I haven't got any updates for you. And I need to pick it back up, but I haven't had any time to play any games since practically Christmas. But I plan to re-engage because winter is the best time for playing games because it's like dark outside and stuff.
Yeah, he wants to go out.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just I'm starting to fall off Metal Gear a little bit. I'm still playing my way through it, but it's just the design of the missions just isn't quite interesting enough to keep me going, and there's there's too many side ups and like.
No, you don't have to do those side ups, but like
I am still doing them frustratingly just because they're there, and it's like, I could clear these blue dots off my map because they're near the next mission start point, and it's like, so I might as well do those while I'm here. But it's just like I think that my major problem now is that the open world stealth thing has run its course for me, and that I'm tired of doing stealth in big open areas. I want actually like some nicely designed compounds and stuff like that. I want the environment to be mixed up a bit.
Cool at the start of Africa, like stuff like that.
Yeah, or even remember the power station in Afghanistan? That's cool. There are a few areas where but they're so few and far between. Like these, the fort in Afghanistan is one. Like as much as I struggled with that area,
it's hard, but it's good.
And it was a nicely designed space.
Yeah,
and it's like I kind of want more of that rather than just little building here, little shanty town here, a bit of rock there.
I know what you mean.
And and Africa is harder because it's more open, and it's like it's not as fun. Like the game is getting less and less fun as it goes on.
There's a lot of kind of lying in the grass type stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's like I was explaining to Zach before we went on air, but there are moments where it's like actually there are circumstances that make missions much easier or much harder that aren't necessarily within your control sometimes. It's like just the way the current state of the game might make certain missions super hard, and then 5 minutes later, like you come out of that mission maybe, but things have happened in the background, like maybe you've done a disrupt the enemy's surveillance cameras thing, or you something like some stuff may happen out of mission to then make it next time you go back into it, it's a lot easier. Because I went back into it and said, right, oh, screw it, I'm going to specifically pick nighttime for this one, which I've never done like up to this point because I was having such a hard time with this one mission that it's like, right, I'm going to go in at night. I'm sick of being spotted super easily by snipers. And then also, like, just went at it in a very different way that perhaps shouldn't have worked, really. But for some reason, all the pieces just happened to come together. And it's like, oh, well, that was considerably easier this time. It's weird. It's like, it's almost intangible. Like, there's this hidden set of variables that when they all come together in a certain way, make something really, really difficult to pull off. And then you just come back to it a bit later with a different set of variables that aren't under your control, and everything is piss easy. And it's like it's cool in a way, but it's frustrating.
It's a little bit too much like real life.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like I managed to like effectively do a mission wrong, but it did me a benefit. It was one of those, like, you've probably come across this already. Like, you've probably come across a mission where like a chopper is bringing someone in, and stuff needs to happen, like, as a result of that chopper bringing someone in. This is the moment to strike, kind of.
Right, yeah.
And so I raised the alarm before the chopper arrived, and so that thing didn't happen. But that actually made the mission easier, because there was no chopper.
Right, yeah. It's kind of weird how you can screw that.
This has worked out better.
Mysteriously, this has worked out well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does happen. I don't know. It's sort of cool.
It is cool, but it's
until
like
it bites you. Yeah,
but it's that sort of unpredictable nature of it, right? That, like, the game could have just said, "Oh, that's a fail," right there.
Yeah, but that's
the
like
event didn't happen.
More traditional video game way of doing it, isn't it? And that's frustrating in its own way. Whereas this is more like, I don't know.
Yeah, in this particular case, it was like, well, this has happened, deal with it. But the dealing with it was then easier.
Yeah,
doing it properly.
Yeah. Yeah, there's quite a few moments like that. It's kind of weird. I'm trying to upgrade to. I don't think I've Fultoned enough people in general. I just don't. Well, no,
you see, I've started getting. I've reached the FOB stuff.
Right. Oh, okay.
So suddenly, I now have a need of getting a great many more people.
Right.
Because I need to secure my FOB from online bastards.
Yeah. Who
might come and jack my stuff and ruin the game for me. So I actually need to now invest in getting dudes.
I don't even have enough. I want to, because the next mission is like, you've probably done it, I'm sure, but it's like the walker gears in Africa. You have to capture some or take some out.
Oh, sure.
Whatever.
Yeah, that was quite a hard one.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, it's going to be a lot easier if I could just Fulton them, but I need to like upgrade to get to that Fulton status, and I just don't have enough dudes.
See, I had that. I had the Fulton. I had the cargo. I had the cargo specialist at that point.
That's clearly going to help. Like, I've managed to get the cargo specialist, but I just don't have enough guys to get my R&D level up to actually. I've got the second platform and everything. Just don't have enough dudes to actually research it. Now I'm trying to do side ops, trying to get some dudes, I guess, which sucks because you already had it, right? And surely that is helpful for that mission, right?
Yeah, because you can just Fulton them out.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Admittedly, there's a lot of dudes about, so that's risky in itself, because it grabs attention, but you can do that.
Yeah, but then I can, I think it's the plan, but now I'm kind of annoyed because I need some dudes before I can do it. So I'm kind of stuck.
I think I did a half and half on that mission. Like, I think I managed to steal a couple of them, and I blew a couple of them up because they were dudes too close. And it's like, well, instead of engaging in that, I'm just going to raise the alarm but throw a rocket at them.
Right,
there we go. Problem solved. I'm making my escape now.
Yeah, just fire and then run. Like the last one or whatever, it's like, bye.
That's pretty much how all my missions go down, right? I do get them mostly spot on, but right at the end, the alarm will go up and I'm like, well, I'm just going to run away now.
Run. Yeah, and literally run because you haven't got your horse or whatever, so you're just literally just running.
Yeah, it's usually like at that point I've got...
or whatever, and you're like, no, I'm out of here.
In fairness, at that point, I think it's because I've got greedy, right? The mission has gone way too well. Everything's gone great, and it's all like, oh, I wonder if there's stuff to steal.
Yeah.
So I start stealing it all and then obviously screw up badly.
Yep.
Like I'll try and It's a shame you can't take down two guys more easily, right? Because like if they've both got their backs to you, it's like there's not enough time to grab the guy behind you before the other guy turns around, and reflex mode isn't quite long enough to.
Yeah, what you need a little
silenced pistol to take that guy out. Like I
it's
suppose
probably
you could
not realistic, but you need a little like double takedown move, like Assassin's Creed style. Really, that would be cool if there was one.
I suppose there could have been a better way.
A real one.
I suppose I should have thought about it, and like maybe if I tranked the first guy in the back of his head, like the second guy would have had to have turned around, and while he was turning around, I could have just sprinted at him and
I mean,
I'm stun throwing him.
I usually practice on the guys in my base, grabbing someone and then immediately going into shooting mode to trank the other guy.
Yeah, I mean that's fine, but if the other guy like spots you whilst you're still mid grab, you're screwed. And it's the animation is still playing, and it's like
that's true. I mean, it depends how much reflex you got, I guess. But
not enough, as it turns out.
Right,
not enough.
You can sort of upgrade the reflex. I can't remember what items it is, but
I think it's staff, isn't it? Like some staff actually, like if you have certain members
there's
of staff
definitely some items
skills.
that do it as well. I can't remember what or like
there's a drug. There's a drug you can take.
Right.
To
I can't be bothered with consumables
reflex.
like in any game. Yeah. Fucking potions. Screw that. I want magical healing powers. It's typically my approach in any game, and then I just hoard potions, and in the end I have 50 bazillion for the last boss.
All the passives.
Yeah. Anyway.
So I'm still sort of playing it. I'm still sort of addicted. I still sort of want to see where it goes, because whenever they do the actual story stuff, it's so good.
It's mental, but it's good, right?
Yeah, it's just like, even if it's just like a little camera cutaway, like a little, even if there's no dialogue or whatever, it's like there's a certain appreciation to what's been done here, like the style of it all that I just can't get away from.
Yeah,
there's a bit that there was literally a scene where nothing happens, but it's just you looking around the room, and the room is like just in a different state at this point. But it's just like, even that was filmed, and it's sort of like there's a dude with a camera just shoving cameras in people's faces and looking around excitedly, sort of filmography that Kojima has gone for here. But it's just like, even that, it was just like, oh, I really love this. And then of course that yellow flare came up of like, oh, anachronistic technology flare.
Everyone's favourite little indicator. I like that.
It's like, cool. that stuff is really good, and I just wish there was more of it. And it's more of that and less of the open world, I guess. When it does that stuff, it's great.
I gather you just have to, like, there's a moment in the game where like they run out of time or something, and there's like a second part which is like, no good. So I'm just going to get to that point, wherever that is.
Yeah, so
by that point I've played it for like 80 hours or some shit. I don't know.
Well, I'm 40. I'm at mission 22, and I'm 41 hours in.
Yeah, that's not bad, is it?
I think the chapter 1 ends somewhere in the 30s,
right?
And then chapter 2 is a load of like side ops again, or like hard mode missions that eventually leads to the actual conclusion.
I don't know.
And everyone thinks that. And everyone thinks that chapter 2 is like the missing bit, right? That's the bit that they never finished.
But you're at like 60 hours at that point. I mean, it's fair enough to complain, but I don't know.
I mean, but maybe like some of the, like, there wouldn't have been so many side ops like on the way to this. You know, maybe the pacing would have been better had they finished chapter 2, right? Like, there wouldn't have been so many side ops to do. You would have been doing more main missions after main missions, maybe. Like, the whole fact that second half is missing perhaps could have paced the game, or the whole game, better.
Totally, yeah.
And you know, I'm still yet to get into just how much jank is in this FOB stuff and the online offline weirdness.
I think there's generally been, ever since like the Metal Gear Solid has had sort of structural issues. Like 4, it definitely does.
4 is just a weird game, really. If you think of it in terms of its pacing and what you actually do. It's a strange game.
And 2 is pretty weird structurally as well. And also that doesn't properly finish either. That got kind of the bit at the end, even though it's insanely long, the bit at the end still got cut, I think. So it's not really unusual for the series. Unlike, I guess the first Metal Gear Solid is pretty perfectly structured, but yeah.
If you're factoring in weird out of game puzzle requirements aside, like I don't know, the whole second controller Psycho Mantis thing is genius, but boy, like that's a weird. That's just weird, right? Like,
that's cool. Obviously, like, yeah, that's weird. It's awesome.
It's cool, but like, so many players must have hit that and been all like, "Nope, this is the wall I can't cross." Apparently,
do you think?
Yeah, I reckon until the rumor spread about what the solution was, but
maybe. Oh, the fact you have to put it into the other controller port is.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure there was an in-game clue for that.
Yeah,
like short of it trying to be a bit meta in Psycho Mantis reading your memory cards.
Yeah, I mean,
like, that was probably the clue, right?
I mean, the vibrating controller was like he told you what to do for that, right? So that's part one of the clue, and then the memory card thing. So there's like two meta things going on.
Yeah.
I guess, but yeah, fair enough. I mean, I guess you could be fooled by that and never get past that, but that seems a shame.
Yeah, I don't know, or maybe the trick with the codec code only being on the box that the game never tells you it.
That would have been more of a problem in the olden days of used game sales.
Yeah,
if you didn't have that, then you'd be totally fucked.
Well, yeah.
True that.
I mean, don't get me wrong; those are great ideas, but it's like the game probably didn't do a great job. But like, and even bits of Metal Gear 4, right, where some of the boss designs, there was a trick to them, right? There was always something, but it probably had you running around for 20 minutes before the game actually just spelt it out to you, and it's like, well, the clues weren't there.
They were rubbish, though. I mean, 4 has
the boss fights are really
bits.
interesting.
Well, I guess, but they were kind of poor versions. Every single one was like a kind of. I know it was a homage to Metal Gear Solid.
I mean,
but...
I mean, design-wise, yeah, because when they all the sort of like the I forget what they called them, like Lady Wraith things.
Lady Wraith things, yeah.
They had a proper name, but yeah, can't remember.
Yeah.
But they were all that. So, like in terms of actual like
the others.
So in terms of visible design, I suppose they weren't great, but yeah, I suppose in a way they were, and some of the cooler ones were derivative. I guess like the sniper battle was about wind direction and stuff like that, and was super frustrating. But the concept is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Metal Gear. It's still crazy. What else have you been up to?
Not a great deal else, really. I played a bit more fast racing. Still loving that. Hypersonic is hard. Supersonic. I haven't made it to Hypersonic yet. It's difficult, and I've been trying to do some more of the time trial stuff, but like some of the time trials are way easier than others to beat the time they set you. There's obviously a trick on some tracks that I'm missing to getting the times, but I just love that game. I love the exhilaration of it. It's like, I think it has some. The more I've played it, I think that there are some flaws in its design, like in the the sort of camera zoom effect every future racing game does when you boost.
Yep. The kind of dolly zoom type thing. Yeah,
it's so extreme in this that it actually gives you the impression that you're traveling, that the boost is having way more of an effect than it actually is.
Right. Yeah.
It's like there are moments like so I've just done like racing around the track, but actually tried to keep one eye on the. It does have a speed readout, and it's like, there are times where it's like, you know what? If I use my boost in the air, I don't get that much of a benefit from it, and that kind of thing. But you still get all the zoom, so it's like trying to figure out how that game actually benefits you, like how the boost is most beneficial, is actually kind of tricky because its effect gets in the way. And I think some of its the moving elements on some of the tracks are occasionally unfair. Like, something will just sort of fall on you that you can't see, and it's like, nah, well, the giant robot died on that. The giant stumpy robot on that level, I think you saw when you came over, is like there's one of the more frustrating examples.
Yeah, it just crushes you.
You just can't see it. It's like, and it's a giant stumpy robot. How can that be? And like the camera shake that comes with that is a little extreme. Like it's like wait, and it's like you're already having to put up with an extreme zoom effect the majority of the time
when you're boosting. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's a little problem, but in what is an already astoundingly, as I said, exhilarating game like that, it's scratching that F-Zero itch good and proper. But a couple of things that could have been done better.
Yeah,
but I do love it. So this genre needs to come back in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not in a big way,
but in a way,
in a few more satisfying ways. It's been too long. That's pretty much it. Like, other than Zach and I played some more Rocket League, of course.
Yep.
I feel like, given my problems with Metal Gear and stuff like that, how it's dropped off and stuff, I think we made the right call. Like, the more I've thought about it, and as much as we stressed over it, I think we made the right call.
That Rocket League is the game of the year. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. It's like it took a little bit more time in my incubator, in my head incubator.
In your digital locker.
My digital locker. Yeah, I transferred the information to the appropriate vocal cord. And I've come to terms with it.
Righto, Zach.
I just wish I was better at Rocket League. That's all. It's like every time we play it,
you can be better at Rocket League.
I mean, I can be.
You can do it.
Like I don't think the last session we had was particularly my shining moment. It's like, I think something's just happened the last few times we played it. Right, we don't seem to be making the right setups. The best setups come when Zach just fucking goes on one, like where it's just like he's the break specialist, is what Zach is.
Yeah, because I play in goal and I just rush out occasionally, very infrequently, really. But I can usually make it work.
Yeah, it's crazy. Whereas, like Kips and I, just with our dedicated goal efforts, just seems like the most unlucky and I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what we're doing wrong is the problem. I've got to that point where it's like, what are we screwing up now?
Well, the trouble that I always think is the main problem with going forwards is it's like, more than anywhere else, it's really difficult to make sure you're not both doing the same thing.
Well, sure.
Because you're basically compressed into like the last third of the space of the pitch anyway.
Yeah.
So trying to make sure that one of you is making it across and the other one's sort of waiting but not really waiting because you the enemy might hit it and then
and then you've got to react. Yeah, I do try and be like the more because Kippers is.
Kippers is always.
Kippers is all aggression all the time. So if we're playing with him, at least I can predict. It's like, I should probably hang back a bit. But I always it feels like I'm always hanging back at exactly the wrong spot. So the ball flies over my head with not enough time to react to an aerial, and I just can't get long range aerials right. Still, I always fly too high or too low.
That's the thing that I said to you and Kippers was like. It's not even the really big aerials.
No, it's
just like the aerials that are just slightly above jump height.
Someone always gets to that interception like a fraction of a second before I do. Because it's like, even if I'm in the right position, like an enemy car will just fly by like the moment before I reach it, and it's so frustrating when that happens.
It's when you can see like the classic thing that I can see from where I am miles away. Is you can see when it's like you and Kippers would like drive up and basically park waiting for a ball to come down so you can hit it, and it's like that's not someone's just going to jump up there and boost and get it because
it's often because like once I've turned round and I've got the lineup, I'm too close to it, right? I'd have to have gone vertical, and at that point there's the other guy already has too much speed, and it's like, well, I've lost this.
But if you've parked and you're waiting for a ball to come down, that's just not good enough. That's the bit that you need to be more good at somehow.
Well, again, that only seems to happen when I'm under it, right? It's like if I'm already under it, it's like, well, what do I do?
Yeah.
Or if I have any boost. I
mean, that was where I was making profit in the early, I guess, lower level play. Was like how I for some reason I seem to have been the only person who remembered that the double jump is actually high if you let it do the whole height of the double jump.
You've got to time it, yeah.
I was getting some quite good profit off that, but then like once you get to the stage where everyone's actually doing even small amounts of flying.
That's what I mean. I feel like the state of the game we play now is different from the state of the game we were playing before, right? Just because of the way players play now, or maybe the people we're getting matched up against.
We've got high rank.
Yeah. It's difficult. I still think it's a beautiful game. More beautiful than the actual beautiful game.
Yep. Clearly.
More beautiful than Pele's game.
And then, so the other thing that we technically played, sort of, and should continue to play, I guess.
Oh shit! I forgot something.
Did you?
Yeah. Plants vs Zombies beta.
No.
I played that. Garden Warfare 2 had a beta weekend last weekend. It's more Plants vs Zombies, but actually, you know what? I don't think it's as good. I think they've got something wrong. So the new characters, I think, are kind of an imbalanced to the rest of the game, and the imp seems like the most powerful thing ever created. Like he's a glass cannon most of the time.
Okay.
Like, he has like no health, but all his guns seem really powerful. Until he summons the mech, and then he's just practically unstoppable for a few minutes. And it's like, no, the imp ruins that game for me. I don't like him at all. He's fun to play as, don't get me wrong, but to play against, he's just no fun. And I find that's really annoying. I don't like some of the new characters are cool. Like the plants, again, the plant stuff is better, I think, or more appealing than zombie stuff, as was in the first game. But the problem is like now the focus of it is like the zombies took over, so all the environments are slightly more zombie themed. The whole game has a more zombie tint
feeling to it rather than garden.
And I preferred the suburbia. I preferred the the revolt style, the hedges and that kind of stuff. It's like this is not my preferred aesthetic choice, so that doesn't help either. And also, actually, I think the biggest problem is that something about the game just feels way more chaotic than the first, and not in a good, fun way. Things just sort of happen, and you just sort of die, and it's like, and it doesn't necessarily feel like anything you could have done about it. That sort of classic, in a way, it's the Battlefield feeling, right? It's like you're just in the Battlefront or Battlefield feeling, like where you're just in a situation you can do nothing about, and there's nothing you could have done differently, and you're just. I think I'm not certain, but I think they up the player count on a lot of it, which is probably the biggest problem. Like, because there's more players, there's more going on. It actually makes it worse. So it's so close to being the original that it hurts in a way. It's like it's so close to it having that spark of genius that I really loved in the first one, but it just didn't do it for me. It just didn't. I didn't have that glee. Which is a shame because the rest of it is just like it's like every part of it individually. If you looked at it, it's like everything's that little bit better, right? Like the visual presentation is a little bit tighter. Yep. I think they're running the latest version of Frostbite on it as well, so like the visuals are just that little bit better, and like it's something about the whole comes together that little bit worse. So I don't know. My excitement has been somewhat slapped in the face.
Tempered.
Yeah.
Okay. Face slapped. Okay. Well, shame, but you got a lot more than you expected out of the original. So.
Oh, way more. I mean, yeah, and everything is like steep. At least in terms of the direction they're taking this, it looks like you'll get the same level of support this time. Like you'll get a good level of free updates and stuff coming to it. I still don't really know how much content will be in the released game. I think like what we saw in the beta was almost as much content as there was in the original Plants vs Zombies release game. But it's like, they're selling this at full price, don't forget. There'd better be twice the content at launch at least. So I don't know.
Probably won't be, and it will just continue the trend of multiplayer games with not enough content, as we voted for our 2015.
It feels like a hard. It feels like a hard sell at this point, and it shouldn't have been like that. They were onto something good. I suppose maybe they had to do something different for a sequel, right? They could have just made more, but I'd have been happy with just making more. But they made more of the wrong stuff. I don't know. It didn't. There's a feeling to it. I didn't get on with.
There we are.
Get on with as much. Like, even as I'm saying those words, it pains me, and it's still kind of good. It's just not as good. That's the thing. It's like I shouldn't shit on it too much. It's like it's still good, but it's just like I should. Gently,
but it's a feel thing.
Gently layer my fecal matter upon it,
not vigorously.
like chocolate on a cake. I should spread it like deliberately.
Awesome. Not
So,
at
yeah,
all
there's
disgusting. Okay.
Sorry about that.
So the other thing that we've technically played and sort of continue to play, we did the Dirt Rally season.
Oh yeah, we're still doing that.
So I've been playing Dirt Rally. Yeah.
Woo! You've not been doing the league though. Get in the league.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know how to do that. It didn't tell me anything about it. Yeah.
Yeah. In fairness, maybe we should try doing the invite stuff. Wasn't great, was it?
Well, I didn't. I said it to open.
Oh, you said it to open. Oh, right. Yeah, Dan, you need to go
because
find
we couldn't get the invite thing to work.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if we start a new league, I'm up for doing that.
We can join this one.
Oh, can I? Okay. I still haven't I've still got my Peugeot. I'm just one rally away from buying a decent, actual rally car rather than a ridiculous Group B car.
Yeah.
Finally, although
apparently
I went back into it. It felt
4-wheel, so
after it was released, and it's kind of the same, but with more variety because there's more areas now, so that's good. And I actually managed to come first in a stage. But
yes, I know. I've only just done that,
so I got that achievement, but I lost the rally massively.
Yep, naturally.
It came off horribly. Because at first I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot how to play this, and I'm really terrible."
And you're in Group B.
Yeah, and I was in Group B, which is a bit fast, I guess, and not enough grip. It's not the speed. It's not that grippy. Like that. The Peugeot, I can't go in a straight line with it. Because it's so powerful that going straight, when it's corners, it's much easier. When it's a straight line, it's holy shit, how do I go fast but not go so fast? Because if one of my wheels touches off the road, it's just a total wipeout, pretty much.
Well, yeah. I think that's just one of my bigger problems with the game. I don't like the vertical physics of that game. I think and I've been saying this since the start. I think the cars flip and way too easily. And once they've flipped, the physics of them rolling around and stuff just feels nothing right. There's it's a weirdly silent affair.
Yeah.
There's no you don't land on the roof and it go wha-bang!
Crunch,
you just sort of feel like you're then on some kind of ice rink. It doesn't matter if you're on Monaco or wherever. You just sort of go, and it's there's something about the vertical and rolling physics just feels all wrong. It's when you've got wheels on the ground and you're driving and you're doing Finland and you're jumping over the crest jumps around corners and stuff like that. That feels great. The moment you flip, that game falls apart.
Well, that's what I always said. Just don't crash.
Just don't crash. I know.
But it's the moment that causes the flip. It's the causation of the flipping feels wrong. It's you're suddenly driving along and it's pew! It's someone's exploded a stunt canister under one of your wheels, and the car's just decided to get airborne. It's it feels wrong.
And the number of times that I'm going slow enough that I've come just off the edge of a narrow thing, and then I'm basically rocking on the edge. I've managed to stop, and I'm rocking on the edge.
Oh, yeah,
I can't actually get reset. Yeah.
Beaching is crazy easy.
Yeah.
It does mean that at least becomes less of a problem once you do get into the four-wheel drive cars.
Yeah.
It really sucks if you're in rear wheel or front wheel, because then if you've reached the wrong end, you're totally fucked.
Yeah, then you're screwed. Yeah, but I suppose
also wooden fences need to be stronger. They just fall apart like they're nothing.
Yeah, except not really though, because that's if you did hit a wooden fence at 70 miles an hour.
Oh, it's 70, sure, but when it's your back end is clipping it out of the end of a hairpin.
Well, then it doesn't matter
20.
anyway, though, does it? Because then it's
No, actually, what happens is my car. This happened to me earlier. The rear end of my car kicked out a bit over a hairpin on Monaco. Where there's one hairpin in particular where it's got a crappy wooden fence around the outside.
Yeah,
and the car actually The fence just sort of fell away like it was nothing until one particular bit of it, which suddenly then become the hardest thing in the world, caught the car and the whole thing basically flipped backwards down the ravine. And it's be consistent. These fences are either nothing or they're something.
So I really hope.
I think the wooden fences are a fail. The rest of the actual driving physics, I think, are great, but the wooden fences and the vertical flipping.
I hope it's just my
two
car.
Major problems,
because that is annoying me. That down the straight thing. I guess maybe it's just because it's so powerful. I can't tell, but it's it feels like there's only grip if the weight of my car is on one side or the other. I'm going around a corner. If the weight is balanced, then there's just no grip. It feels it's weird.
Yeah. But the cars do feel radically different. I try.
Yeah, they do.
Within a group, right? So I'm using the Audi Quattro in my Group B 4-wheel at the moment, which
I should have got that.
Is a crazy solid car, right?
That one's massive. Yeah, compared to the little Peugeot. Why did I buy that thing?
I mean, it doesn't want to drift, right? It's like it just wants to be solid on the road, and it has a serious understeering problem as a result. But
I don't mind understeer though that much on.
No, you just go slower.
You just go slower,
it's a little bit more predictable.
Yeah.
But then I tried the Ford. What was it? The RS 200.
Yeah.
Right.
That thing is slidey as hell.
Yeah.
Like it's all over the place.
Well, that's the one that I'm planning on using for our season because I originally used the Peugeot as well, which maybe the one time I tried the RS was in like one of the daily stages or whatever, so I couldn't even do setup, not that I usually do, but that was like literally the first time I'd ever tried it. So
are we doing Group B for our season then? Because that's where
currently,
Rob
yes.
Is that the idea? Because I mean,
that wasn't the idea. That was just coincidence.
Yeah, right. Okay.
My camp, I just happened to be there, so
because it seems like,
but no, like Zach's picking different car groups per rally. So
okay.
This one just happens to be the Group B one at the moment.
Do I need to have bought the car though? I guess.
No. You get.
Right.
You get to pick.
I'm just not going to be used to. I'm going to get an Impreza, 95 Impreza, I think, in the next group or whatever, or maybe There's no Lancer in that thing, is there? What's the next one after Group B?
Group A.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it might not actually be any longer, is it?
No, it might have changed. Anyway, I think you can.
I mean, you can obviously skip over the Group B rear-wheel drives.
Yeah.
Don't bother wasting your money on buying another one of those.
Oh no, So I did that, I guess, with the Lancia. That's all done. I hope. Well, that must have been rear wheel, right? The ridiculous wedge
there is a Delta.
Lancer. No, not Delta. The
Integrale?
Yeah. Whatever
that was way earlier, wasn't it? The Integrale that was back in the front.
Oh yeah, it's not Group B, is it? No.
One of the early rear wheel. Sorry. Yeah. The 70s.
It's a 70s one. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah. Anyway, I'll just go for a freaking Impreza from Colin McRae 1. That'll do me.
I might Group B rear for sure, because the rear cars I don't enjoy very much.
No.
I think I tried one of the Group B rear-wheel drives one time and it wasn't that bad, but then I didn't think the 80s rear-wheel drives were that bad once I got used to it.
Well, like the BMW one.
Yeah. BMW
that was okay.
Type ones.
Oh, man. I really
it didn't. That one understeered quite a bit, but it was all right.
But yeah, so Group A, that like the Subaru in Group A is really easy. Probably still not as easy as the Lancer.
Oh, good. Well,
the Lancer was easily the easiest car I tried.
I'll have a nicer time with that then, at least. Because, I mean, it's fine. It's just like, I can't just go straight down a straight without...
Well, I like the Rally Focus.
Me too.
Well, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But like the other thing that's going to be slightly weird about the season for me is like I haven't really played Group B since the physics changed. And that I think I tried it very briefly using my actual Group B car, the one that I was used to, and it seemed even more ridiculous than I remembered it being.
Yeah,
which is like that's kind of ridiculous already.
Yeah,
it was already a real difficult car to handle, but now it seems even more ridiculous. So that would be crazy.
I still don't think they never went back and fixed the instructions. I don't like either. Like, there's definitely
they never changed the pace notes.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple of there's one corner on Monaco where I think that like the description where it's like, oh, it's a right 5, and it's like, oh, that is not a 5, that is a 3.
Yeah, some of them are weird.
And it's like
the amount
they
of times
slam into the wall every time.
On the Group B, the amount of times the performance is so ridiculous that I flip out on the first corner because I go too fast after like 2 seconds.
Wow.
I forget that I have to slow down, because if the first corner is a 4 or something, you actually have to slow down because they accelerate so quickly.
It's not. I mean, I don't know if it's... Well, I guess it's another thing I haven't really tried since the physics update, but it was like when I tried doing the hill climb in the ridiculous hill climb cars, it was the first time where it was like, okay, now I actually have to not just fully brake or fully accelerate. I actually have to use the analog slightly, like especially on the brakes in the hill climb cars, because they just locked up so easily.
Yeah.
It was like I have to actually slightly brake, just jam it, because as soon as you go past like midway down, it just locks up and then you're not doing shit.
I don't think I have the accelerator jammed very much at all in Group B, to be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe immediately after the apex of a hairpin, and that's about it. Although then that's when you spin out, so not even then.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, I've started having more luck with Dirt Rally in general when I realised you just can't play it like any rally game before, right? I can't be the moments before where it was like in the older games where it was like 6 left, 6 right, and all that. It's like there was always foot to the floor moments anyway.
Yeah,
and it's like, but that's just not true
you just
now.
can't
It's
go
like,
that fast.
Not always, yeah.
I'm feathering it the entire time now. I'm very rarely actually just going right. Okay, I can actually floor it here.
Yeah,
I'm always letting off. Like every corner, I'm letting off.
Yeah,
like if I floor it, it's for like 1 second, and then I'm going too fast to actually control it. So then I have to start.
It's like, oh no, I need to overbreak. I've not left myself enough braking room for this one. Balls.
I mean, theoretically, I think for the hill climb cars especially, you could probably solve the brake locking up problem by going into the advanced setup and actually changing the brake pressure.
Oh yeah,
because that might actually allow you to solve that problem.
That might make it easier. Yeah.
But the trouble is, I just don't know enough about it to be able to do it or tell the effect. And like, you know, it's probably a really precise point you want that brake pressure, where it's like if you have it too low, it just doesn't brake enough, and if you have it too high, you lock up too easily. So where is that incredibly precise midpoint that makes it normal?
I still just
better time since I stopped using my Sidewinder.
Well, that's only because of your weird.
Yeah,
glitches.
the performance problem is a big deal.
Right. That must.
Like, so I'm using the Xbox wheel, so I'm missing force feedback because they never did force feedback support for Windows on the Xbox wheel, apparently. But the performance improvement is so great that it's making me much better at the game. So this is a shame. I'd like my force back.
Dan can get in the season, and surprisingly, well, maybe not that surprisingly, but Dan can also theoretically catch up because me and Rob traded first and seconds on the first 2 season rallies.
Oh, and in fairness, my Monaco run that's up at the moment is pretty terrible.
I'm really not very good, guys, so we shall see.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we have to see. We want to see the actual times and be like, how good are people?
The thing is, if we didn't have like event restarts turned on, I'd have totally DNF'd this one.
Well, you see that?
Like I crashed out immediately.
I started regretting not turning it on all of them.
What, put stage by stage?
Yeah, because once I got to Sweden, admittedly, really the only time that I would have definitely used it in Sweden was because the game screwed me, basically, because I did a thing where I rolled, it punctured one of my tyres, I landed precisely sideways in between 2 snowbanks so I couldn't turn around.
Yeah.
And then I thought I was seeing the reset car prompt, but it was actually the repair puncture prompt. So I hit the button to reset the car and it repaired the puncture and gave me a 1.5-minute time penalty.
Yeah.
So I had to quit out and restart the game because I wasn't going to take that.
I actually think as well, like I was trying. I don't know. Did I describe it on the podcast a couple of weeks ago?
Maybe.
Like, I think there's an odd seeding thing. Like there's a random punctures can sometimes just happen because the game seems to want them to.
Yeah,
like,
I don't believe it. Though.
I don't know. There was one stage on Finland that I just kept doing over and over and over again. And like, okay, admittedly, first run I did was terrible. I treed it real badly. Came out with a puncture at that corner and was just like, right, fine, yeah. That's bound to happen, but like, let's try this again. Drove it much better, didn't crash or anything. Puncture occurred at exactly the same spot, and I'm like, right, I'm not having that. I've driven this stage like perfectly. Like you've just given me a puncture for no reason. So I did it again. Did that drove it much more carefully. Weirdly, ended up getting a faster time, but just drove it much more cautiously. Went around that corner perfectly. It couldn't have been sweeter. And it goes, yeah, puncture on the same tire that it was every time. I'm like, what is going on? Like, can I not drive this properly and then not get a puncture here?
I don't think I've ever seen a puncture happen from not hitting something.
Oh, yeah, on Finland, it happens all the goddamn time. It's really annoying. Like, I don't know if I had 1% of wheel damage or something by the time I reached that point, and that was enough to just, I don't know, rip the tire from the rim or something.
I mean, there was that old theoretical rumor that was never really conclusively.
Oh, the stone.
Well, no, not that. There was the old theoretical rumor that was never conclusively proved about how tire wear is simulated but not exposed. Like your tires supposedly might degrade over the course of the rallies, but you can't do anything about it. And then, if you get a puncture and it gets repaired, that is effectively a new tire, but only on that one tire.
Yeah, weird. So maybe I was suffering from that. Maybe that wheel
that
just
could
warm.
be the one reason, but I don't know. I've never
Still
seen
really,
it
really annoying.
So yeah, Dan, you just need to go into the leagues things
for
Happy Salad, and it should be there.
Right.
Which
well, I'm
by
going to play
means
the
of
rest
us explaining this on air, like now we're going to get a whole.
Yeah.
Well,
No, we're not.
no one's going to join. No one's going to join.
I'll probably play the rest of these rallies so that I can get the freaking impreza and have a bit more fun for a sec, and then I'll dive into your league.
Well, you'll be used to Group B. That's the thing.
That's true. Yeah, maybe I'll go in after I finish the Group B.
So I think driving the slightly better cars that I hadn't actually really touched, like as part of doing some of these league rallies.
Yeah, once you finally got out of rear-wheel drive.
It's like it turns out that's probably the most fun I've had with the game. Actually, is getting just as soon as you get to the good car classes, it's like, oh, now I feel like I'm having a good time.
Yeah,
like.
It's amazing how long it takes to get there, though, doesn't it? If you're doing it,
yeah, it takes a real long time.
You'll also be glad to know, I guess, for Dan, is that I've coincidentally made it so that it's Monaco Group B is the current season.
Fine.
So drive Group B.
So Dan will be conveniently in
the
that.
right level.
But then also the following one is Finland in Group A. So
perfect.
Even when you buy your new car, you'll be in the right one.
Well, I haven't driven Group A yet. So
it is
weird how
I
much
saw
time
a
you
little
spend.
a note, a hint thing while I was loading the game about doing the Scandinavian flick. Have you actually tried doing that in the game, Zach? Does it
Not
work?
really intentionally. I've done it, but not necessarily on purpose.
Not sure I could pull that off.
Most of the time, there's not enough width of the track to really make it feel viable.
Well, not for us anyway.
No.
I'm sure actual people who know how to do it can do it all the time.
I don't feel like there's enough track width to really sort of try and do it.
I do it accidentally sometimes.
Yeah,
it's mainly it's like when you're coming downhill towards a hairpin, but
because
you're going downhill, it's like your car's naturally unstable, and you coincidentally have accidentally
turned
yourself into going the wrong direction.
Yeah. And then you flick it back.
And then you flick it back, and you're like, "Oh, that worked really well for that one corner."
Yeah. I remember I do try and do it on some hairpins, but like as I say, trying to do it on Monaco is like a lost cause almost. It's like there's no room here. There's no room.
Well, I mean, a lot of the time you just handbrake it on Lake Monaco.
Yeah.
Because you have tarmac mainly, so you can get away with that. Yeah. Same with Germany. You can just handbrake all over the place if you want, because you have enough grip.
I pretty much do it all on any hairpin, right? Like even on Greece, I have pretty good handbrake action.
And it helps to have four-wheel drive as well, because you can't,
you can't
do a handbrake turns in a rear-wheel drive. That just fucks you right up.
Yeah, you can that. It's weird, isn't it? It's a sort of I have a very much a love-hate relationship with that game, and I may not necessarily be having fun, but I can't really tear myself away from it.
I like it. I think it's good. I'm really glad it exists, and they're putting a decent effort into it.
It'd be interesting to see what more comes, if any.
I mean, presumably they're working on the console version currently. But...
Oh, also, have you noticed that the newer, like the pace note timing is way different on the new courses?
Yeah, I was having real problems with Finland.
It's super early.
Yeah,
like the new courses, like all of, especially like the I have my pace notes on earlier anyway.
Oh, I didn't. I had them all.
But because I always find like I'm going way too quick or something. It's like there was no way I could have reacted to that note in time, so I put them on earlier. But on Monaco and Greece and stuff, that is absolutely perfect for how I like it. On Sweden and Finland and stuff, it's like a whole factor of 2 or 3 earlier still. It's like the timing is way different.
I was kind of finding the opposite, but I think the thing with Finland was I was contemplating setting my pace notes earlier because I didn't think I was getting enough warning.
Yeah.
But I think that's not actually a problem with the timing of the pace notes. I think that's like more of a comprehension problem. It's just because the Finland pace notes are filled with so many more extra instructions like crests and jumps and all that stuff that clutters it up. You can't process it as well, so it feels like they're coming later.
That's kind of true, but I do think the timing is way different too.
Yeah, I haven't noticed it as much on like Sweden or anything.
Maybe the different. Maybe on standard mode, it's not so pronounced. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe like standard mode because it's not shifted. It's like a 0.
Yeah.
It's like
what if it's a multiplier?
By 0.
Oh, that might explain it, right? Because maybe like at least in Finland's case, it's like maybe it's maybe in Finland's case they've tried to skew it because it's a faster rally, right?
Yeah.
So they try and made that they tuned it so the notes were put, but then like because it's multiplied that maybe it's way too much.
Or maybe it's just the car that you're in.
Maybe
because presumably you hadn't played Finland until you were in Group B or slightly.
Yeah, I think I'd have only done it in Group B.
Yeah, so maybe it's just because that car's a lot faster. You hadn't seen how different they were in the other cars.
No, I've probably done it in 80s. Sorry.
But anyway,
Yeah.
It's still fun. It's still impressive. I just all my usual complaints aren't going away anytime soon.
Apparently,
yeah.
And then, so what I've been playing, I guess, is basically just one thing. I
Cool.
played a whole bunch more of Binding of Isaac Rebirth again. And I'm going to say it again, because I said it last week on the podcast, but now Kippers isn't here to argue. That game is well easy compared to the original.
You can get away with saying it now.
Well, basically, I mean, it's not like I haven't played it a lot. So, to some extent, there's, improvements of skill and you just get better over time, I guess. But I've basically completed it with every character and all the goals. I haven't quite got I haven't got Platinum God, the achievement for getting everything, even though there's real Platinum God, which is, even more ridiculous, but don't worry about that. Because that's too ridiculous. Platinum God is achievable. Real Platinum God is the stupid mode.
So the Gears of War seriously achievement.
Yeah, it might as well be. Well, basically, Platinum God is basically unlock everything and complete all the objectives in the base, in what you could almost consider the base game, because Real Platinum God is basically focused on the uber secret character that has this ridiculous unlock method that, it was discovered by the community, or it was meant to be discovered by the community, but was actually just data mined.
No, right.
So, and then that super secret character is basically it's one hit kill for the whole game. So,
what, like a Heaven and Hell mode from Devil May Cry?
Well, apart from not for the enemies, is the
Hell
and Hell.
Okay, yeah.
So ignore that. But I very nearly got everything together for regular Platinum God, which is so I've done every character through all of the different stages of bosses. Because it's really ridiculous. Because you play through to the mum fight, the first 6 levels lead to the mum fight, and then you have 2 more levels to the mum's heart, which is about all Rob knows about.
Yep.
And even then, barely. And then from there, you basically have a split where you either go to hell, basically, and fight Satan, and then from there you go into the dark room and fight the Lamb from the Wrath of the Lamb, or you go into the cathedral and fight Isaac, and then into the chest and fight the Blue Baby, and that's the branch. So you have to beat all 5 of those bosses with every character,
right? So
you have to at least do it twice, I guess, to go down each of the trees. And then there's also the speed run, where you have to beat the mum fight within 20 minutes. And then that unlocks a boss rush, basically, where you fight every boss sequentially in pairs in just one big fight.
Jeez.
Which is, well, the thing is, because the boss rush is built into the run, so when you beat the mum fight in 20 minutes, a special door opens and then it leads to a room.
Oh, wow.
Fight.
Okay.
So sort of, if you've managed to get to the point of beating mum in 20 minutes, you're powerful enough that you can probably handle all of the bosses consecutively.
Right.
Because that's sort of natural that you've become that powerful in order to be that fast. So I did that. I've done all of that with all the characters. And so now I've just basically got to beat Mum's heart on all of the characters in hard mode, which I've done with 2 of them. But it's not actually that much harder from from those first 2 runs. I mean, admittedly, the first one was ludicrously overpowered, but it doesn't really change that much. It doesn't change the damage output you do or the damage that enemies do. It's just slightly higher chance for champion grade enemies to spawn the coloured ones that have slightly stronger attacks or whatever.
Do the rooms potentially have more stuff in them?
Slightly. I mean, supposedly it can change on the rare occasions where 1 or 2 types of enemy can spawn. When you've got those ones that fire the laser, but then you can also have the ones that fire the laser out of both sides. It slightly balances it towards the double-sided one, because that's the slightly harder version of that enemy spawn.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still not that difficult to manage if you're having a reasonable run anyway in hard mode. So yeah, done 2 of those out of whatever it is, 7. And then it's just the awkward part of the completion of having to pick up every item.
Yeah, which you kind of don't have much control over.
Yeah, because then you're just like playing runs until it randomly gives you that item. And also, I looked it up because I was like looking at the items I still hadn't got yet. And of course, there's the one that's really annoying to get, where it's the item that only unlocks after you've died 100 times.
Oh, right.
But then because that I've succeeded more times than I've failed, so I haven't actually died virtually at all.
You're too good at this game.
I've got like 40 deaths, and you need 100 to actually unlock this one item.
Great.
So I just have to throw it a bit or something. Just walk into spikes over and over for a while. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, that game's well easy compared to the original. Yeah. Don't care what Gibbs says. I mean, he's got Afterbirth, so he has even more difficulty in that, because that actually does change things and rebalances some of the it actually changes some things that are actually part of the game, like item rebalances legitimately changes how some things function.
Yeah, okay, wow.
It's not just like added content.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, I played a lot of that. I can't help playing more of it, even though it's like, it seems like it's a classic sort of Team Fortress problem of like, you think you're just going to go in there for a quick game, but you don't remember that every run is like an hour.
Right, yeah.
I mean, like I said, the speed run is getting to Mum in 20 minutes. And that's only the first 6 levels of the game. There's at least another 4 after that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't know. I did kind of like the original, but it's just like I'm the luck never went in my favour in that game, and I quickly went off it. So it's like not, but I sort of enjoyed my time with it. But it's just like, yeah.
Well, you probably like the newer one because it's
easy.
Maybe.
Probably.
Oh, and the other thing I guess that I played briefly is I finished SteamWorld Heist. Got through it.
Yeah.
It turns out I was right. There was only 3 areas.
Okay.
It's not that long a game, unsurprisingly, really, I guess, because it's quite cheap and small feeling.
Still,
indie-ish.
everyone seems quite positive about it.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it got slightly... Well, when I got to the midpoint of the game and my team was leveling up to sort of I'd call it like 2/3 of the level cap, I guess. The level cap's only 10, so there's not that many levels to go up. But once they started getting towards like 7 and 8, it was like they basically... There wasn't much more improvement that I could think they could have, and it turned out that was the case. There wasn't really much more improvement on those last few levels. And the guns didn't... There was a couple of slightly more interesting ones in, like, once you got the alien tech guns, they got slightly more, like, I guess, semi-weird, but also sort of ridiculous. I mean, there's still the same basic, like, set of weapons, where it's like the sniper gun with the laser sight and the rocket launcher and the grenade launcher and the machine gun and the shotgun. And it's like they're all basically represented, but then like the alien weapons have these slightly more interesting modifiers. Like the rocket launcher has a triple rocket launcher, so it fires free, and like the shotgun has penetrative bullets, so they go through things.
Yeah, interesting.
Which normally you could only get with a specific character skill.
Yeah.
So you could equip that to anyone and give them the penetrative shot and stuff. And the pistol type weapons are lasers now, so I'm not sure it really has that much effect, but it seemed like it allows them to ricochet more times. Like, I guess the range is longer, you could say.
Before the ricochet stop.
Yeah. So, that was sort of interesting. And the last boss was... Well, the whole alien segment was... I thought it was going to be more awkward than it was, because basically... the smaller alien like troops teleport every turn, which makes it, you'd think, would make it real difficult to handle staying in cover, because they can just teleport behind you all the time. But it turned out to not be as much problem as I thought. It was manageable, and then like some of the other alien units actually started getting well easier than it first appeared. Like the big alien unit, like the heavy, I guess, has a lot of health, but it has a laser attack that like penetrates everything in a line, but it takes a turn to charge.
Oh, okay.
So basically, as long as everyone moves after it started charging, you can just shift everyone out of the way.
Oh, right. So you know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can basically predict that. And in some cases, you can exploit it because, as I found out on one specific mission, that laser beam attack can do friendly fire. So there was this one specific mission where there was basically this really big room that had 4 of those big enemies in. And the way I ended up doing it was like there was one side corridor where I had 2 of my guys who were just taking long-range pot shots into the room, like ricocheting off scenery to hit them. And then the third guy was basically coming up from a ladder from below in the floor. And what he'd do is basically on his side, he'd run up into the middle of the room, take a pot shot at a random whatever enemy was convenient. All the big laser enemies would try and target him, so they'd all start charging on that turn.
Oh, right,
then he'd just leave, and then they'd all shoot each other. Because he'd just be in the middle of the room, so all the lasers would cross section.
That's great. That's a genius plan.
Turned out really good in the end. So yeah, the alien, and then like the last boss was actually kind of unspectacular, as it turned out. It basically has the laser charge attack, apart from it's a stationary thing in the middle of the room, and it has like a shield on the front, and then the weak spot is on the back.
Oh god, time.
Yep, that was pretty good. Well timed. So yeah, that boss is, it aims at one of your team, starts charging the laser, and then obviously it exposes its rear, so you just basically split your team into 2 halves on opposite sides of the room, and then when it targets one of them, the other team shoots it in the butt. Yeah. No problem. And then it's was a kind of anticlimactic ending as well. It's just like, oh, we killed the thing, and let's go home. Let's just leave.
Boom, down.
Not really any particular conclusion.
Let's drink our oil gin.
Oh, and also, there's New Game Plus. I mean, technically
to get those last 2 levels. Or...
Well, no, because I'd already maxed it out by the end boss. But technically, you can change the difficulty at any time, so there's no particular necessity for New Game Plus in terms of difficulty increasing. That was just like a choice. But it basically, you start the game again, but you start with all the crew from the start, which is sort of good. I mean, they're all level 0, so you don't get any of their skills, and you have to grind to level them all up, which is kind of sucky.
Right.
But yeah, you keep all the crew, you don't keep any guns, but you keep all your hats.
Hey.
So you can go through the game again and try and get all those hats
you missed. Get the max hat run.
I think they really missed an opportunity to number the hats or have a completion stat for the hats, because it's I don't know how many hats there are left.
No, I see. You don't know if you've ever got them all.
No, it's kind of disappointing. It seemed like a really obvious opportunity.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, weirdly, when I completed the game, it gave me rankings where it's how many turns you took to complete the game, and I was I didn't even know that was going to be a stat that it ranked.
That's kind of cool.
Well, kind of, apart from it, kind of sucker punches you at the end, where it's you got bronze because you were well slow, fuck you.
I suppose, yeah, if you spent the time to just grind around and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not really what the game's after. But then, now you know. I suppose, was it, Guacamelee did that as well? At the end of that game, it's so he goes, here's your leaderboard position. It's wait, what?
Yeah. Kind of sucks. It was alright, though.
No, it sounds like a cool game.
So I finished that game and then started it again, played a little bit more, but that's,
probably done.
I guess. I mean, once Super Pokemon Mystery Dungeon turns up, that will be the 3DS game replacement.
Yeah. I've got to admit, at the moment, I'm just trying to, I kind of just want to finish Metal Gear now, so I can go on to something else.
That's your problem, though. Yeah. That's your classic problem. You can't leave a thing alone.
I don't really want to start another game, because I've got Dirt Rally, Fast, and that on the go. It's just I don't really want to play anything else. I want to get something finished. I might punctuate the odd brief moment with some one finger death punch, but
match. It's a good one moment.
Whoop apart.
Sweet.
Mob around.
Yep, that's that.
I just realised that I bought some Ray-Bans in Andorra, new ones, and I've just realised looking them up. I didn't realise when I was buying them that they're folding ones, which is super cool. And once I bought them, I was oh, this is awesome. They come in a tiny box because they fold up. And now I've looked them up and I realised I've saved 85 quid. They're 200 quid or something if you buy them here.
Nice.
Yeah, so Sweet.
Double bargains.
Yeah, double bargain.
Buy your sunglasses. Weirdly, buy your sunglasses where the demand must be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird.
You'd think they charge premium for buying like equipment at the place.
You'd think so, but no. Well, there you go. Right. Thanks for joining us, guys. On the Saladcast. Any more videos coming up from the Happy Salad stable?
Oh god, yes there is.
Oh, plenty.
We've got some Sonic Heroes waiting to go up. Boy, spoiler alert, that game is bad.
I can't believe. I mean, when you finally got to the end of Sonic Adventure, you're like, let's never play this again. And now it's on to Sonic Heroes.
Well,
It's all Zach's fault.
Well, it's like it was like we said, let's never play this again, but it wasn't. It wasn't because Adventure was particularly bad. I mean, Adventure's a fine game, relatively speaking.
Relatively.
Because once you got the heroes,
relative to Sonic games, yeah. Well,
once we got the heroes, we discovered the true meaning of horror.
Man, oh boy. I mean, like, Sonic Heroes still is the one Sonic, classically, the big stat with me is Sonic Heroes is the one Sonic game I've played but never finished.
Yep.
Wow.
And, oh man, this is bringing back all the memories of why I actually returned that game. I actually returned it.
Yeah, well, it deserves it, man.
Right. I've still got my copy of Sonic 06, for fuck's sake.
To find out how fucked it is. I met a guy at work who has his name in the credits of Sonic 06. I was like, aren't you ashamed?
Oh, yeah, you said, yeah.
Anyway, never mind. Shame. Right.
Also,
look out for that.
Coming up in the videos will theoretically be a Final Fantasy video if we remember to record it this time.
Yeah, we did. We played the whole episode segment of it, except I
forgot to press record.
Now,
so that will happen still.
Okay,
we just might be slightly less enthusiastic.
We've got all the audio, so we could present it as a radio play. I don't know.
Or we could just play it through and record just the video and put the audio in it and see if anyone notices. See if it
syncs
syncs
out
up.
of sync. No, it would be horrible. It would be real bad.
Yeah, it definitely won't work. Right. Look out for that, and we'll catch you in a couple of weeks for more Saladcast. Bye.